Now, at the Rezaeian game on Monday night, there were lots of issues around fans not being able to wear their rainbow bucket hats. Presumably, we're not going to see that kind of problem this morning because that has now changed, that the ruling on that appears to have changed.
Yeah, FIFA assured the FAW that basically rainbow symbols were allowed in the stadium now. When we were walking in this morning, one of my colleagues was wearing a bucket hat, not a rainbow one, just a regular one, and they were kind of inspecting it very closely and looking at the colours on it and asking colleagues if this was one that was approved. So I was a bit anxious thinking, has this kind of been communicated through the staff here? But so far, luckily, we've heard no kind of issues at all with the rainbow bucket hat. Laura McAllister, of course, former Wales Women International, tweeted on the night that she had been stopped. Some of her friends had been confiscated, even a friend who had rainbow laces. His laces were confiscated. So, yeah, luckily at the moment, it seems, fingers crossed, that there's no reports of anything like that happening at the moment.
Just a question for me, really, Liz. I spoke to Ian Rush earlier, which was fantastic for me, and he was outside the stadium. You didn't see him, did you?
No, I didn't, sorry.
Oh, OK, fine. Well, Liz, thanks very much. Good to speak to you this morning.
Thank you.
That's Liz Clements, BBC Wales reporter. She's outside the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium. The Wales-Iran game kicks off in just over an hour.
So, Rick, have you managed to get yourself a ticket for the England game tonight?
Yes.
Oh.
And I am absolutely pumped, Rachel.
Are you feeling sort of more or less confident now that we've seen them play against Iran?
Oh, I mean, way more.
Right.
Way more, of course.
Relaxed.
Played really well. Not quite relaxed. Not quite relaxed. I think USA are decent, but I'm confident we'll get the 3 points and get out of the group now.
Well, before we get to that, we're going to have a little bit of this. Fans in the stadium just before Wales were playing USA a few days ago. We'll get a repeat of that, I'm sure, at 10 o'clock. See you then.
BBC Radio 5 Live. With the news at 9 o'clock, I'm Lisa McCormick. Nurses in England, Wales and Northern Ireland will go on strike for 2 days in the run-up to Christmas and what's set to be their biggest walkout in NHS history. The Royal College of Nursing says there'll be walkouts on the 15th and 20th of December in the dispute about pay. Rachel Parr is the Chief Executive of the Patients Association.
Patients are already experiencing really long waits for planned elective care, long delays for ambulance as well. So combining that with the existing workforce shortages and the gaps in social care, patients' health is already at risk of deteriorating this winter, even before any strike disruption.
People who share explicit images which have been manipulated to look like someone without their permission could be jailed under proposed changes to the law in England and Wales. The pictures are known as deep fakes. A man charged with the murder of a mum and her 2 children in a flat fire in Nottingham is due in court later. 28-year-old Fatima Hadara and her daughters Fatima Drama, who was 3, and 1-year-old Naima Drama died on Sunday. Scientists say they've made a breakthrough in their efforts to design a vaccine which works against all 20 known types of flu. The jab uses the same mRNA technology as some COVID vaccines, and researchers believe it can teach the immune system to fight new strains of flu that could spark a pandemic. A child has died and another's recovering in hospital following an outbreak of bacteria at a school in Surrey. The UK Health Security Agency says the children caught the invasive Group A streptococcal infection. And schools in Wales have been allowed to cancel lessons this morning to let pupils watch the national side take on Iran at the World Cup. Tony Wilding's one of Aaron Ramsey's old teachers. His school in Blackwood is one of many getting involved.
I'm really nervous, really looking forward to the game, but seeing all the pupils coming in, passing us now and got the red tops on and bucket hats, it's really, the buzz is starting. I'm looking forward to 10 o'clock.
Tony Wilding there, one of Aaron Ramsey's old teachers.
Hello and welcome to Cammy's Football Shorts with Cammy and just Cammy, not me. Oh, thanks, mate. Anyway, each week he's bringing you more tales of his extraordinary life and career. He doesn't need me getting in the way.
My wife and I went to LA. She says to me, I want to do that tour bus round the stars' houses. He says, you probably won't know this guy. His name is Vinnie Jones. And I went, I know him. Think about it. Vinnie Jones.
These bonus episodes are available. Just search for Proper Football on BBC Sounds.
Good morning, day 6 of the World Cup here in Qatar, and we are live inside the Ahmed Bin Ali Stadium for what is going to be a big day for the home nations.
And then it's driven in by Saka. England score their second goal.
Gareth Bale left-footed. He's done it. Wales lead by a goal to nil.
Bellingham heads it in. And it's Jude Bellingham who scores England's first goal of this World Cup.
Have we ever beaten the States in a major tournament? No, I didn't think so. So we have to try to make history.
Grealish! It's 6-1. What a start for England in Doha.
You know, if you want anybody under the pressurised situation late on the game to get an equaliser, it'd be Gareth Bale to take that penalty.
Bale with a penalty! Scores off that trusty left foot!
I seem to pop up in big moments, I guess.
Gareth Bale has delivered on the biggest stage of all!
Well, a big day then. Wales at the start, England at the end of it. The home nations bookend 4 games of football. Again, you'll hear them with us all here on 5 Live, or take the World Cup with you on BBC Sounds. Just download the app to your mobile. Hot sunny morning here in Doha. In fact, as we head into the afternoon now here within the stadium, though, it's cool. It's one of those stadiums with all the air conditioning units around it, still waiting for both sets of players to come out and warm up. The cones are set out for both Wales and Iran. The sprinklers have been on the turf down below us, 3/4 of the pitch bathed in sunshine at the moment. The goal, the penalty area, and maybe 10 yards outside the penalty area away to our right, where Iran are going to warm up, is in shade at the moment. Our commentary team here inside the stadium, Ian Dennis and Pat Nevin. Danny Gabidon with us as well, who will be part of the TV commentary team here. James Collins, former Wales international, in the studio as well. Let's do the team news first of all, Ian.
Well, just the one change for Wales, and it's the change that many will have expected, because Kiefer Moore, who really did change the game when he came on at half-time on Monday night against the United States, he starts in place of the man he replaced, and that's Dan James. And in fact, for James, it's the first competitive match that James has not started for Wales since Slovakia back in March 2019, which is a run of 34 games. So Hennessey is in goal. It's a back three of Mepham, Rodon and Ben Davies, and then Connor Roberts and Nico Williams as the wing-backs. Ampadu has had that ankle injury assessed. He's fit enough to start in the midfield along with Aaron Ramsey, and then you've got Gareth Bale, Kiefer Moore and Harry Wilson. Now, as for Iran, who were battered 6-2 by England, they've made 5 changes. The goalkeeper, Beran Vand, unable to be selected because he, of course, he'd left the field with concussion. But also there's a change of formation, and Sardar Azmoun, who came on for the last 13 minutes against England. He'd had a calf injury in the build-up to the tournament. He starts alongside Taremi. So they've got 2 strikers there that have shared 71 goals between them on the international stage. Hossein Hosseini, who replaced Beran Vand in goal, is once again in between the sticks. It's a back 4 of Rezaeian at right back, Poralianji and Majid Hosseini as the 2 central defenders, Milad Mohammed as the left back, and then a midfield of Golazadeh, Nuralahi, Estoloy, and the captain Heisafi, and then Azmoun and Taremi as the 2 up front.
Just on the lineups, Pat, and then we'll bring James and Danny in. Almost a tale of 2 strikers, actually. In Azmoun now starting for Iran because he is vital for them, given the number of goals he has scored for his country. and Kiefer Moore, who was vital in Wales' turnaround against the USA, starting for the Welsh.
Yeah, see, when you look at this group beforehand, nobody expected to get any points against England. So in a way, Iran, they get beat 6-2. There was no expectation whatsoever. It kind of almost starts here for them. So this is the team they want to put out. They want to go and attack Wales in this one. Yeah, we know why Wales have changed it. They've got a decent result there against the USA. But in actual fact, I think you're going to see the real Iran. I'm not going to say they're going to be brilliant, but you're going to see Iran against the teams they expect. So that's why I think one of the reasons why you've got the extra striker. Because if they don't win today, or certainly if they don't get at least a draw today, they're basically out.
Danny, you were nodding at that point.
I think Pat's got it absolutely spot on. I think, if Iran play Wales' first game, you probably see Azmoun playing and Taremi just playing off him. I think the respect, obviously, they showed England. They would have come into this tournament seeing how the fixtures are kind of laid out. They wouldn't have expected really to get anything from the England game. It'd been a bonus really to do that. These are the two games now that they'll really target. So yes, their pride will be dented from a heavy loss. Generally, they don't concede that many goals around, so that would have been a little bit of a shock to them. But this is the real game that they'll be focusing on now, and I'm sure you'll see a different Iran performance, chappers.
Just thinking, the last time I spoke to you in person was Hereford against Portsmouth in the first round of the FA Cup. There are some contrasts in life, aren't there?
Bit of a change, yeah.
Similar nerves for that game as well.
A little bit warmer here.
He is quite nervous, James, I'll be honest with you. He does seem quite nervous to Danny. Are you?
I think we're all feeling the same, chappers. Very sweaty palms, bit of nervous tension in the studio here for myself, but I'm about 6 coffees in already, mate, so I should be all right. Should get me through.
He couldn't do anything else, Robert Page, could he, than bring Kiefer Moore in?
No, that we spoke about it on Monday after the game. The difference was there for all to see when Kiefer Moore came on. Certainly today, I know they've changed their team. Iran, they're going to play 4 at the back, which they're used to playing. They changed to a 3 at the back for against England, and clearly it didn't work. So they've gone back to their sort of tried and tested formation. So it's not going to be an Iran team that we saw against England, granted. But Kiefer Moore, he just brings such a difference. They struggled. I think Iran struggled to deal with the crosses and set plays. And obviously that's going to be a big part of Wales' game today. So I think for everyone, Kiefer Moore starting was an absolute no-brainer.
The difference between Wales' first half and second half, possession in the first half 33%, possession in the second half 53%, shots on target in the first half none, shots on target in the second half 3. There has to be more to it than just one individual. I mean, it must have been down to the difference in some of the other players as well, because the intensity just wasn't there in the first half.
Oh, for sure, and again, I've said it a few times since the game. USA need a lot of credit for the first half, but certainly you look back at the game. Aaron Ramsey, didn't perform how he normally does for Wales for whatever reason. And yeah, we just tried to play too much. I think USA pressed us, and we didn't have a plan B. And obviously now we keep playing. We've got that plan B where we can go a little bit longer if needs be, and a little bit more direct, but. Certainly looking at Aaron Ramsey, what he's done over the last few years or 10 years for Wales, the way he performs, he certainly needs to up his performance in today's game.
Yeah, chappers, I think it was a combination of things. Obviously some nerves going into it, a lot of players playing in their first World Cup. It was a big occasion for these players. Yes, a lot of them have tournament experience, but this is a different level, and I just thought the first half, the way the USA kind of came out, really pressed the life out of Wales, and we couldn't even stick 2 or 3 passes together. And I thought second half it was a combination of maybe the manager saying, look, we need to do better, we need to be braver on the ball, we need to take care of the football better. I thought the USA's levels dropped a little bit as well. Spaces started to open up in the second half. We started to get the ball into that midfield area a little bit more. Obviously the introduction of Kiefer Moore was a massive plus for the team. So I thought it was a little bit of a combination. The USA not putting Wales away in that first half and just dropping off their levels allowed us to kind of come into the game a little bit. And Kiefer Moore really was the catalyst, you say, added possession. He was a big part of that, getting hold of the ball. I think the shots we had in the second half all involved him. And he played a massive part in getting us back in that game. And you can see why he's actually starting now this afternoon. He's going to be a big part again. So I think Iran, looking at this one, they might look at what USA did in the first half generally they kind of sit off a little bit more and try to plan the counter. They can see the success the US had in the first half pressing Wales. You might see them do the same thing, because obviously they need to win this game as well. So that is something that Wales need to be aware of. They need to start better. They need to be aware of what Iran are going to do, because you can't keep 45 minutes, a team talk and a sub coming on to get an improved performance second half. At this level, you can't do that. You've got to be ready right from the get-go.
Actually, Danny's made exactly the point I was going to make. Precisely, yeah. If you're Iran, you've got to come out and do that high press if you possibly can. A, you like to do it generally, but B, you saw that it worked against Wales for the USA. So I expect that from the Iranians at start.
But you could also, playing Kiefer Moore's a big thing in that, though, because now we've got the option of missing the press out, Dan, and going over the top. It's not sexy football as you like, but we can, if they do start pressing us, that's the beauty of playing Kiefer. You run the channels and we can play a little bit more direct to stretch the pitch if they do press us.
Just looking at the Wales players in the tunnel, and now they're about to come out of the tunnel. Gareth Bale leading them. Kiefer Moore prominent in that group as well. In fact, the camera focused on him before it focused on Bale in the tunnel. This stadium probably not even half full at the moment. The seats are red and black in this stadium. But what it does feel like is that at both ends we're going to have the two sets of fans. In the England-Iran game, there were more pockets of fans around, but certainly here, away to our left, in the baking, well, it probably won't be hot because of the air conditioning, but certainly in the sun, that's definitely the Welsh end. Most of them in their red Welsh shirts, a lot of them in their bucket hats as well. That lower tier to our left is virtually full of Welsh fans, and away to our right, that is definitely going to be the Iranian section. Plenty of them in the white Iran kit there, plenty of Iranian flags as well. So the stadium, whilst not very full at the moment, certainly at both ends, has a good population of both sets of fans. Let's talk Gareth Bale for a moment. Sets a new record today for Welsh caps in men's football. 110 appearances for his country. Here's his head coach, Robert Page.
He admits himself it wasn't probably one of his better games over the 90 minutes. But when you need him, he delivers for you. If you want anybody under a pressurised situation late on the game to get an equaliser, it'd be Gareth Bale to take that penalty. And against Austria, he delivers goals. Against Ukraine, he's the one to step up and take the free kick to get us to the finals.
He transcends beyond football what he's given to Wales as a country.
So that was Robert Page on Gareth Bale. Danny, one of the interesting stats with him is he has played more minutes for his country than in club football since March of 2021.
Crazy, but he still keeps producing. And there's a few players in this Wales squad who, over the last kind of year or so, not been playing regularly for their domestic teams, but can stick that kind of Wales shirt on and still put in magnificent performances. And look, it hasn't probably gone how he would have liked that in America for Gaz. I think he had that plan, obviously, leading up to the World Cup to go out there and get, the right amount of minutes that he needed to be coming into this tournament in prime condition. That hasn't really been the case. I think you saw a little bit of that in the first game. We didn't see him really move too much, didn't have too many touches on the ball, but in those kind of pressure moments when he needs to kind of step up, he's just shown it time and time again over the years that he still has that kind of star quality. So we're going to need a little bit more from him today. I'm hoping that obviously getting some minutes into his legs on Monday is going to help him going into this one, and he'll look a little bit sharper, Aaron Ramsey included. But he's still so influential on this team. He really is.
James, Rob Page said there, it probably wasn't one of his better games against the USA, but he's obviously there for his footballing ability, don't get me wrong, but his presence, and I suppose as Danny says, for those key moments, whether that's a free kick or a penalty, presence and key moments are as vital as anything else.
Definitely, chappers, and Gabs has said it himself there. He hasn't, sometimes he hasn't had his best game for Wales, but he's always there, and like we say, the big moments where we need him, he goes on his experience of playing in Champions League finals and playing in big games and produces at the big times. We saw that against USA. It's a high pressure penalty. He's took it like he's playing in the park with his mates back in Cardiff. So he's a huge influence, as Danny says. He needs to be better. He'll know that. He's come out himself and said he wasn't at the levels that he expects to be for Wales. So I'm expecting a big performance from Gaz, and hopefully, when those big opportunities come and those big moments, he can produce how he has done for the last 10-15 years.
I mean, I'm not going to use the word transition here, although by mentioning it, I have kind of already used it, Danny, I suppose. But when you are bringing the younger players into the squad, even if performance levels drop from those senior experienced players from time to time, you could throw Ramsey into this as well. Really, you still need them.
Of course, they're massive players. The stats don't lie with Gareth Bale, they really don't. So look, you can argue, is he the player that he used to be? Of course he's not, but the stats don't lie. You look at our average kind of win rate when he doesn't play, it halves. You look at the amount of goals we score or don't score when he's playing, not playing, it halves again. So he's so influential, and look, we are still heavily reliant on these two, and obviously when they hang their boots up, which isn't too far away now, this is going to be a big hole for these younger players to fill. But what we have seen in the last couple of years is there are young players kind of coming up and stepping up and doing things in big games. Nico Williams, we've seen the progression of him. Brennan Johnson, now everyone's talking about him being the future of Welsh football. He's an outstanding prospect. So the senior players, yes, they're still key, not just for their performances, but their leadership, how they're developing and helping to bring these young players through. But what we are seeing is younger lads stepping up, probably playing over and above their level in a Welsh shirt, and performing on the big stage. And these young players are going to be important as well, because the likes of Gareth and Aaron, they can't do it all on their own anymore. Gareth can't get the ball deep and take it past 6 men and stick it in the bottom corner anymore. He needs a little bit of support around him. So these young players are key as well, chappers.
But it's the levels and the standards and the levels of performance that those two, certainly Gareth and Aaron, have brought to the younger lads as well, Dan. Like, obviously when we were playing, the standards weren't at the and the levels weren't at they're at now, but that's
because
that
me and you are leading the young lads.
maybe, mate, maybe. But it's just looking at Gareth and Aaron, the younger players, the levels and the standards they expect from everyone around them just lifts the whole team. And like I say, that's moved on to the younger lads now. The younger lads coming through are showing the same sort of enthusiasm to play, to turn up in the first place. That wasn't always there, and it all comes from them too. The levels they've played at club football is now sort of dripped down into the Welsh national team.
The increase in the noise levels here, by the way, whereas the Iranian players came out to warm up, and those Iranian fans who are in here, and they are more in number, I would say, than they were for that first England game, are continuing to cheer them, particularly as the players run towards them during their warm-ups, and the flags are still being waved. Whether you're a senior, well, probably not, but for both senior players and the newer players, recovery is going to be a huge part of this World Cup, Danny, because of how quickly there is a turnaround in games. These games are bunched together more closely. So we're now into the second round of games. This is the first one of the second group games. How the players are fitness-wise will be interesting to keep an eye on.
Yeah, and that is going to be a massive thing for every team, particularly this Wales team, because going into the tournament there has been some concerns with fitness. The likes of Joe Allen, obviously you mentioned Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey hasn't played a lot, so I'm sure Robert Page over the last couple of days has been monitoring how the players have been recovering. A little bit surprised maybe that only one change to the team. I think if you saw the back end of the game Monday, there were players dropping like flies, a little bit with cramp, likes of Ampadu, one or two others who looked a little bit undercooked physically. So he's obviously liked what he's seen the last couple of days, and that's where we talk about the start being so important. They were really lethargic with their start on Monday. What are they going to be like starting this game off the back of playing a really tough game Monday, where they had to work really hard, by the way, chaps, to get back into the game, had to expend a lot of energy to get anything from that game on Monday. So it's going to be interesting to see how that has affected the starting 11 here today, and how they start in the first 5 or 10 minutes, because you can expect Iran, who've had slightly more probably respite as well going into this to really come out of the blocks and on the front foot, and it's really important that Wales match that intensity.
Only by a few hours, Danny. Only
It all counts.
I know you were
Small percentages.
Dan, talking about recovery, mate, do you think any of them have had as many massages as you used to have yet? Or
Definitely not, mate.
Spend as much time on the massage table as Gab. But Chappers, I spoke to, I had a little chat with Ben Davis after the game on Monday, and he was saying there was a few tired bodies, and as Danny said, a bit of cramp flying around, but that's just another thing where the Welsh FA have moved on. You know, the facilities and the staff they've got there now to cope with this sort of tournament environment is credit to the FAW. And Ben said they've got everything there to recover. There's no excuses, and as we can see, you know, there's a fully fit squad. Even Joey Allen's available today.
Do you know why that would be? Because someone like Ben Davis has obviously come straight in from Premier League games, only a week since the end of the Premier League season before starting the World Cup. Is that as much about nervous energy, do you think?
Yeah, possibly. I think it's just the amount of games. It's just the recovery from game to game, the time you've got in between games, Chappers. It's not a thing on the lads' fitness at all. It's just the recovery. You know, we know how quick and physical the modern day game is, and it's just the knocks and the muscle soreness that you've got to get out of them. And like you say, it's ice baths, and there's no excuse. All the facilities are there, the ice baths, the 4 or 5 masseurs, and a lot of recovery. So, you know, they're young lads as well. They won't be tired. It'll just be knocks and kicks.
The other thing, Danny, they're not allowed to use goal celebrations or substitutions as a pause for breath now, because they're being added on at the end. So if every game's 100 minutes long, they are actually having to do a little bit more.
Yeah, I tell you what, it's been crazy actually. The amount of time that's being added on. Obviously, it's this new thing to do with obviously teams kind of time wasted, and it's just FIFA just wanting to make sure that all the time is being played. Which,
well, come on, Danny, we fans pay our money.
I know you want to get your money's worth.
You spend 3 minutes in a goal celebration.
I don't think I'd last the full game anymore. I think I'd be off.
I have to say, as an ex-player, I love it. I love the fact that we're getting more game time now, because it's become an art form recently, especially with more substitutions allowed to be made, that you got teams managing games down from 75 on, and it's like a nightmare, and it became too easy to do that. So I think FIFA, I can't believe I'm going through this sentence. FIFA have got this one right.
Well,
did I say that?
Yes, and they should be applauded for that. They are allowed to get some things right. Danny, thank you very much. You're off to do television. We'll talk to you later on. Danny Gabidon, this game is on BBC television today as well, and you are able to press the red button and get the 5 Live commentary if you so wish with the TV pictures. It's all synced up. And of course, if you haven't got access to a TV screen, if you're out and about and you need to take the World Cup with you, then just download BBC Sounds and you get all of our coverage and all of our World Cup podcasts through there. Atmosphere slowly building inside the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium. Let's go outside the ground, and Delith Lloyd is there. What's the atmosphere like out there?
Mark, it's been absolutely buzzing outside the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium for the last hour or so, and what strikes me as well is that the Welsh and the Iranian flags are of course the same 3 colours, so all I'm seeing around me is a sea of green, red and white. And it's really sort of struck me how well the 2 sets of fans are getting on. There have been so many groups of Wales fans wanting to have their pictures taken with the Iran fans and so forth, and there are flags everywhere, because I'm sure you'll have known at this World Cup, Mark, I was at Morocco, Croatia the other day, but at every stadium, including this one, they're offering complimentary flags as well. So many people maybe who've turned up and haven't got a flag are picking them up as well, as the Iran fans just passed me by. It's those that have the vuvuzelas. I've not seen a Welsh person with a vuvuzela yet. The shouts of Iran just going past me, Mark, as all the supporters are making their way around the stadium towards the gates where they've got tickets. It's a really, really fun atmosphere, a festival of football. There are drummers around, there's a bit of music, and the vibe is one of positivity, because of course there's always hope before a football game, isn't there? The Welsh fans are wearing their bucket hats. I haven't spotted any rainbow bucket hats, which obviously will be allowed in today after FIFA made that U-turn, but I haven't spotted any yet. I've been speaking to so many fans as well, even before we came. Wales fans had taken over the metro this morning. I'd spoken to a group of Welsh fans who'd flown in from Dubai this morning and are heading out back to Dubai tonight. I know we're getting word of some glitch in the system from fans who are travelling from Dubai, but the fans I spoke to got in fine as a group of Wales supporters just passed me by, and there's a man with Welsh glasses. So yeah, the vibe is one of positivity and hope, and it's a really, really colourful atmosphere, Mark, and I can't wait to get inside in the next 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, Del. I don't think there's been a game where outside or amongst the fans there hasn't been a vibe of positivity. There were a few reports that there'd been a couple of clashes between Mexican and Argentinian fans, but apart from that, it has been amongst the fans a very positive, friendly World Cup so far. So we've got the games today, 4 games as usual at the moment at this stage of the World Cup, bookended by Wales and England. Wales against Iran in just under half an hour here on 5 Live. England against the USA gets underway at 7 o'clock, and again full commentary here on 5 Live. Danny Murphy joins us from our Doha studio at the moment. What do you think Gareth Southgate will have learned from the Welsh game against the USA, Danny?
I think he can see, I mean, probably the energy and the fitness is there. I suppose you worry a little bit with the first game, how they're going to adapt to the conditions. He can see that they're all ready, they're all firing. That would have been a huge plus for him, because if you play that system, you want to be on the front foot with it and really go after teams. So that would be probably the most, and so many of the players have transferred their form and confidence levels from club football into the first game of the World Cup, because even though you expect it to happen, the enormity of the tournament and the game sometimes can bring players' performance level down, as we've seen in the past. So, yeah, I think lots of positives. He'll be. Well, never mind him. I'm more confident than I've ever been of an England World Cup game today. I don't know about you.
Goodness me. I don't think I've ever known you positive in my life. So
that's not fair, chappers. I'm a new man. Gareth Southgate's changed me.
Well, that's just another thing to add to the list of reasons to thank Gareth Southgate for. I mean, USA set off like a train against Wales, but they couldn't keep that up, and that might just be that first half of a tournament, and that, you know, and all that nervous energy.
Yeah, I was impressed with them first half in terms of their control, but they didn't really penetrate Wales that often. They weren't making lots of chances, although they were dominating possession. They have got a couple of players, of course. Pulisic we know very well. Weir on the wing, who you know causes problems, but they didn't really have too many runners in behind. They weren't trying to get through the behind Wales back three that often. It wasn't. It was a decent performance, but it wasn't a fearful one. It wasn't like you look round the pitch and think, whoa, they can hurt us from all different places. So, although you have to be cautious and give them some respect, I'd like to see us play the same way. You know, that we're better than you, we're going to come after you, we're going to see how good you are if we press you nice and high, and we're going to try and win the game early.
Just play the same way mean both same formation and same personnel?
Yeah, I've said all along that for me what's more important is the tactical plan and the mindset of the players. So if, for example, there was a couple of players changed today, which I don't think there is, by the way, but if there is, it wouldn't concern me too much as long as they've been given the freedom to go and try and dominate and win the game. I saw an urgency about England and a real intensity that's been missing in recent games, obviously, where they've been on a bad run. I mean, Mason Mount epitomised that. I know a lot of headlines, Bellingham, and rightly so, because he was superb, and the wide boys, but I thought Mason Mount was one, he kept triggering the press. You know, he's got that wonderful desire to go after people, and people follow that, and it's contagious, isn't it? So, yeah, the freedom that Gareth gave them in that game, I hope is there again, to just really go after them and not worry about, on occasion you might get played through, on occasion you might give up some chances. You know, there's no perfect way of playing football. You can't be really positive and commit men forward to press and then not occasionally get done on a counter. But I think that suits us so well. And I don't see any reason to change that.
The other thing that seemed slightly different the other day was substitutions didn't lessen the tempo of the England team. The substitutes who all came on all had an impact as well, didn't they? And I know he has been talking to Eddie Jones, the England Rugby Union coach, about Eddie Jones always calls his substitutes bench the finishers, and therefore he gives them a role. He says it's not because you're not good enough to be in the starting 11, it's because I want you to have an impact from 50 minutes in or 55 minutes in, which is just as important. Now, sometimes that has worked very well for Eddie Jones, sometimes it hasn't. But Southgate has taken that mentality on.
Well, it's good to see, isn't it? I think that the competition for place is so good that the lads who are coming on know they have to do something pretty special to try and get a start. So that's a good thing. You know, I think that's really helpful, because the more quality players you've got, it does enhance the players' performance on the pitch. I suppose in the Euros, one criticism of Gareth was that he was a little bit reactive with his substitutions rather than proactive. You know, we've talked about that before, but I think he's learned his lesson. He's a bright guy. I think with the heat, the conditions, the quality we've got in terms of strength and depth all over the place, then I think we'll see a lot more of that from England, more than we ever have. I know it helps having the extra subs as well, but yeah, long may that continue. And the other great thing about that, chappers, is, you know, the players who you really want to look after. If we are a couple up today with 60 to go, someone like Declan Rice maybe today could get a little bit of a breather, because he seems to play every minute of every game for club and country, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Having said all of that, we watched Brazil together last night. They look good.
Oh, they do, don't they? They really do. I think it's sometimes. I mean, we were talking about this the other day actually, and the fact that after Argentina have lost to Saudi, all of a sudden they can't win it now, and Brazil play well, and all of a sudden they're the favourites. I'd like to reserve a little bit of judgment till after the second games, but Brazil seems to have a lovely balance between that real penetrative pace and creativity, but with a bit of steeliness. You know, Casemiro with his experience, the two centre-halves are just incredible. Yeah, I think after watching that last night, it's a bit like, we don't want to be getting them to anywhere near the end, do we?
No, but let's not think about that. Let's keep the positivity up. Thank you, Danny.
Cheers, chappers.
Cheers,
enjoy.
Danny Murphy with us at this World Cup on BBC Television and on 5 Live as well. We are inside the Ahmad bin Ali Stadium. We are, just under half an hour away from kickoff. Wales against Iran as the second round of group matches get underway. Full commentary here on 5 Live. First, here's the latest news with Lisa McCormick.
Take the World Cup with you. Qatar 2022.
On BBC Sounds, this is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Nurses in England, Wales and Northern Ireland are going to stage their biggest strike in NHS history next month in a dispute over pay. They'll walk out for 12 hours on December the 15th and the 20th. The Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, says it's deeply regrettable that the union's taken action. The government's planning to criminalise the sharing of explicit online pictures or videos which have been doctored to look like someone else without anyone's consent. Anyone caught sharing them could be sent to prison under the new proposals. Campaigners have launched a super complaint against the police, accusing them of not doing enough to properly investigate stalking or protect victims. The National Police Chiefs Council has admitted that there's more forces could do to improve the outcomes in cases of stalking. And the actor Emma Corrin is calling for male and female awards at film ceremonies to be replaced with a single gender-neutral category. They're non-binary but won a Best Actress award for the portrayal of Princess Diana in The Crown at last year's Golden Globes.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Listen live on digital, online, smart speaker or the BBC Sounds app.
Let's have a look at the latest weather now, and the sun is shining across Wales at the moment. The sky is blue, not red currently, and it's going to stay pretty sunny all day today. We've got a few showers though across southwest England and across northern parts of England this morning. Those should tend to move away, and for most it's going to stay dry with some sunshine. The cloud may just thicken up a little bit from the west later on, just high level cloud making the sunshine hazy, and maximum temperatures today across England and Wales getting up to about 9 to 12 or 13 degrees. Now, Scotland and Northern Ireland, we've got a bit more cloud affecting the far northwest of Scotland, and here's some outbreaks of rain at the moment, mainly affecting the Highlands. But that rain will continue across the far north and northwest of Scotland into this afternoon. Eastern and southern Scotland and Northern Ireland, mostly dry with some sunny spells. Just the odd shower coming into the west of Northern Ireland, and top temperatures getting to about 7 to 10 or 11 Celsius. And then over the weekend, On Saturday, we'll see some rain moving its way into northern and western areas of the UK, a strengthening wind as well. Overnight Saturday into Sunday, that rain would have moved its way to the southeast, and then there'll be dry and brighter weather towards northwestern areas, and it will turn quite mild as well, especially overnight into Sunday morning. Simon King, 5 Live Weather.
BBC 5 Live.
On Saturday night, 5 Live Boxing returns.
I want to fight everyone there is something to fight in my era.
Dillian Whyte takes on undefeated American Jermaine Franklin in a heavyweight contest.
I want to learn and push myself to learn. I'm obsessed with trying to learn and be better. I'm a warrior and I come to fight. Taking risks and chances is nothing to me.
Hear full commentary live from Wembley. Saturday night from 10:15 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
BBC 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022 with Mark Chapman.
Gareth Bale, who secured the winner against Ukraine, now has a chance to get an equally valuable equaliser here against the United States. Bale with a penalty, scores off that trusty left foot. Gareth Bale has delivered on the biggest stage of all, to the sheer delight of Wales. The United States won, Wales won.
He commentated on Wales the other day and he has the team news now. Here's Ian Dennis.
And from that side that secured a valuable point, Rob Page has made just the one change. Kiefer Moore for Dan James. So Hennessey in goal, Mepham, Rodon and Davis as the back three. Roberts and Nico Williams, who of course had come through such a difficult 24 hours after the passing of his grandfather. He plays as the left wing back. Ampadu has recovered from an ankle injury to play in midfield along with Aaron Ramsey, Bale, Moore and Wilson. As for Iran, they've made 5 changes and also a change of formation. Beran Van, the goalkeeper, who started against England but then suffered with concussion. Hussein Husseini starts in goal for Iran. Rezaeian, Paralianji, Majid Husseini and Mohammed is the defence. They've gone to 4-4-2. Golazadeh, Nuralahi, Estoloy and Heysafi is the midfield. And then Azmoun, who only featured in the last 13 minutes against England, partners Mehdi Taremi up front.
Azmoun just got announced to the crowd on the big screen there, hence the big round of applause. One of those applauding was Beran Van, the goalkeeper who's injured against England, who's down there in the technical area at the moment in a tracksuit, but with a real big protective mask across the majority of his face, but particularly his nose after that sickening clash against England. Let's head to Aaron Ramsey's old school next on 5 Live to find out what the atmosphere is like there. Mark Hutchings there for us. Morning, Mark.
Yeah, good morning. Well, school's changed since my day, but then I never got to see Wales play in a World Cup. It was a long story of waiting, but, well, times have certainly changed. I'm here at Ysgol Gyfun Cymrumni, which is, as you say, Aaron Ramsey's old school. They've had the local radio station for the school, Radio Cymrumni, playing out, getting everyone into the mood. About 500 pupils filing into the hall to watch the game, and with them is Lloyd Marnie, who is a teacher here, teacher in English, was here at the time of Aaron Ramsey too. Was there any doubt about halting lessons to watch the game here this morning?
Not for a second. Not for a second. We're making history today, and the pupils demanded it. The staff demanded it. It was no decision to make. We're watching the game.
And how much excitement, how much buzz do you feel about this game? Because there is a lot of pressure on the Welsh team and on Aaron Ramsey too to get a convincing win today, isn't there?
I don't know about pressure. I think we're delighted to be in the World Cup. We're proud to be there, and we're enjoying every minute, all of us as a nation.
I mean, the pupils are certainly excited about it. And you saw Aaron come back when he was starting to play for Cardiff City. You played in goal against him, didn't you?
Yes, we had a beat the keeper competition, and Aaron paid his money, and I'm proud to say that he never got his money back. He didn't beat me, but I'm sure he'll beat the keeper today.
I was going to ask you what the size of the goal was, but...
very small.
Very small. Let's have a quick word as well with Alicia. Now, you play for a football team, yeah?
Yes, I do.
How inspirational is it to have an occasion like this and see an ex-pupil playing on the global stage?
It just motivates every single pupil, like, to get more involved in sports and... football in general as well. It's quite a hard sport for us girls, especially because there's not many teams out there. So watching the games and seeing like Aaron Ramsey and stuff come to the school, and like Natasha Harding, you know, it's so inspirational for us to like keep going, and you know we can be like that as well.
And when you woke up this morning, do you think, I really don't want to go to school, or was it slightly different this morning?
Oh no, I was buzzing for school this morning. Like I honestly couldn't wait to come in.
Well, enjoy the game. There we are, Mark. The scene is set here. I'm sure it's set there.
It is. I would say the stadium now maybe 60% full, something like that. The lower tier of Welsh fans behind the goal to our left is completely full, and they are really in the glare of the midday sun at the moment, are those Welsh fans. Let's turn our attentions to Iran, beaten 6-2 by England on Monday, of course. We can hear from Carlos Queiroz.
Let's imagine for Iran, they only give us 2 games to qualify. That's our mental approach to this World Cup. The first game doesn't count. It was not official, it was a friendly game. We have only 2 games to qualify. This is what we need to do in the next 2 games. All the work that we are doing in this moment is exactly to refresh and repair this mental damage for them to be simple football players. When the pride start to come out, especially in the last 20 minutes, when they start to wake up, you saw that. So this is exactly what we need for the next 2 games.
Pat Nevin and James Collins are with us. It's exactly what you said at the start, actually, Pat.
Yeah, the expectations were, you see the group, in the build-up we felt Scotland might get through, and we were already thinking that way because we knew the importance and how big, how many good players, how many brilliant players there are in England. So, yes, it starts here. It'd be interesting to see it. We're going to get quite close to it soon. Do you know what I'd like to see one thing more than anything else just now? When it's to the Iranian national anthem, turn the cameras away from the players. That would really, really help. Because of the pressure they are under just now, we don't need to do that to them. And I would love to see that. I don't think we'll do it, but I'd love to see that happen. Just do it around the fans and, give us other pictures just now. Back to the team. Watching them warm up, by the way. Wow, they're up for it this time, aren't they?
Yeah,
they really are. Just look at the 2 strikers. Taremi's class. I mean, he's a great finisher. Obviously, he scored the 2 goals there. But remember watching him in quarterfinals of the Champions League? He scored a cracker against Chelsea, 93rd minute or something. And he's superb, but the reaction of the fans to Azmoun being on there as well. And all they have done in their warm-up is practice finishing. So you know what's on their mind today more than anything else.
Taremi plays his club football for Porto. Azmoun plays his club football for Bayer Leverkusen, so they are experienced in the European leagues in various positions, are Iran. James, you take Carlos Queiroz's point and Pat's point about England being the strong team in this group and the other 3 maybe seeing each other as their rivals to get out of it. With Wales having England last, then obviously it puts added pressure on Wales in this one. They've got the point. They really need to be going into the England game on 4.
Yeah, for sure, chappers. Looking back, you don't realise how big that point was. Well, we do, but as in, if we didn't get that point against USA, it was game over. We're definitely going to see a different Iran team today. As the manager said himself there, they saw that as a bit of a friendly. They're going to come out here today against Wales looking for the win, all guns blazing, and Wales are going to have to be ready for that. We're talking about Wales being on the front foot and taking the game to Iran, but they've got to be a little bit cautious because, like you say, the 2 boys up front, they've got a wealth of experience, a wealth of international goals. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a tough game for Wales, but certainly if they can perform how they did towards the end of the game, certainly second half against the USA. I could see Wales, coming away with 3 points and then setting up a massive game against England on Tuesday.
Pat mentioned one of the issues surrounding the Iranian men's national team and the singing or the refusing to sing their national anthem. We could talk now to Benaz Afgar, who is Welsh-Iranian, a presenter on BBC Wales, watching in Cardiff Bay this morning. Thank you very much, Benaz, for joining us. When the 2 countries were drawn together, what were your thoughts?
Oh my goodness, I was at the World Cup 4 years ago supporting Iran, and I just never thought I'd see the day where Wales would make it to the World Cup, and now it has, and they're in the same team and they're playing against each other. It's just, you couldn't make it up, could you? It's such a mixed feeling of emotions for me, but obviously I've lived here 30-odd years, so I don't know, it's really hard to choose where I'm going to go. Either way, I think I'm going to be happy today.
Well, that was going to be my next question. Are you in a can't lose position or are you in a can't win position?
In a way, I feel sorry for the Iranian team because they've had such a terrible time of it. You know, a lot of negativity going towards the team at the last game. There were the people who were watching were swearing at the team, and there's lots of bad energy. And I just want them to do it a little bit okay, like either draw or not lose too badly. At the same time, I've lived here 30 years of my life. I'm so connected to Wales. I know who the players are, and I want Wales to win as well because it's their first time in 64 years, you know, at the World Cup. I really would love to see them go on to the next stage.
It is myself and Pat were talking about it when we were having a coffee before the game. It is such a difficult position for these Iranian players, isn't it? And Carlos Queiroz himself has said that. And look, you may agree or disagree with some of the things that Carlos Queiroz has said since arriving at this World Cup. But for some of these Iranian players, you know, I mean, you know, I'm looking at the ages of some of them. 26, 28, and I know they're adults, 27, I know they're adults, but they're still relatively young, and they're here to play football. It's difficult not to feel some sympathy for them.
I absolutely feel all the sympathy in the world. I just get so upset when I read on social media, everybody's so annoyed with the team, not because they lost the other day, but because they went to the president's house before they came to the World Cup. You know, there's major protests going on in Iran at the moment. People are very upset. They don't want to be seen to be celebrating anything, and they just expected support from the team. And now the support is there because they've made it to the World Cup. They're on the world stage. They didn't sing the the Iranian national anthem. Everybody's talking about what's going on in Iran, but they just can't win. They cannot make everybody happy. All they have to do is get their heads down today, focus, and try and do the best they can in the game, and just enjoy the experience of being in the World Cup. But as I say, it's really hard for all Iranians around the world right now to enjoy anything because of what's going on in Iran.
And I was also going to ask you, you know, I was in the stadium the other day for England, Iran. There was booing in the stadium around the national anthem. And I could ask you, were those fans booing at the team not singing, or were they booing as a protest at their nation, or were they booing against the national anthem? And I suppose the answer is it could be any of them, couldn't it? Depending on the perspective of the people here.
They were not booing because they didn't sing the national anthem. I can 99% guarantee that. They were booing because they were disappointed with the team. Because they went to the president's house before they went to the World Cup, which is a tradition that they always do anyway. And if they hadn't gone, maybe they wouldn't have been allowed to come to the World Cup. So as I say, they can't win no matter what they do. But today's the day for everyone to be united and support the team and try at least for them to do a little bit better than they did against England. And I don't think we should mix politics with sport. Let's just support the team and see how they get on today.
Lovely to talk to you. Benaz, hopefully you enjoy it.
I'll do my best. Straight
thank you. Benaz Afghar, Welsh-Iranian presenter on BBC Wales. Wales already in the tunnel, actually, or four of them are. Gareth Bale and Wayne Hennessey. I then can't see actually who's behind Wayne Hennessey because he's so big, and Rob Page has walked out of the tunnel and he's just about to take his place on the bench. A thought on Kiefer Moore, James Collins, who a decade ago was a lifeguard and has come through non-league and EFL, and he's playing Premier League football at Bournemouth now, and he's now going to make his first start at a World Cup. What a journey that is.
Incredible, Chappers. You know, the story, the way he's come through the ranks and performed, and every time he's played for Wales he's performed, and you know, what a moment for himself and his family to come out and play, you know, the big number 9 for Wales, you know, and he's a massive player. Everyone's been talking about him leading up to the game, obviously what he did coming on at half-time against the USA, but yeah, it's one of those moments that all those boys, not just Kiefer, all the boys, you know, any game, you know, a long time ago we didn't look like we'd see any Wales players playing in the World Cup final, so, you know, for him and for everyone still, it's still a dream come true, and hopefully they can perform today. I am getting slightly concerned about the Welsh fans in that sun all day, though, Chappers.
I know.
There must be some serious sun cream going on.
Well, you would absolutely hope so. They won't be feeling that hot because of the air conditioning and how it is managed in the stadium. The temperature Ian Dennis has been our air conditioning expert coming into the stadium, telling me all the technical reasons behind it, but it shouldn't get above 26 or 27 down there. So they won't be sweltering, but they are properly in the glare of the sun, and the way the sun is moving and the way the shadow is moving across the field, that end will be the last to find itself in shadow. The shadow now may be covering 2/3 of the half that the Iranian team warmed up in. Pat, would it be fair to say that Kiefer Moore could surprise teams at international level, because that kind of striker is not around a lot?
Yeah, there's not as many of them, you're absolutely right. And also what helps a little bit, because of the physicality that he has, maybe until last year it was working against him, but the refereeing has changed a little bit more physical plays allowed just now, so you know those things are in his favour as well. So yeah, at international football it's not normal. A lot depends on the referee. We've seen such different refereeing already at this tournament, and I just hope it's a referee who doesn't blow every single decision and every single little nudge, because that'll certainly work against Wales. It'll work against Kiefer Moore, but that's generally not been happening most of the time at this tournament, so big hopes for the big man.
How are you feeling now, James?
Slightly worse than earlier chapters, to be honest.
That's an hour in the company of me and Ian Dennis for you.
True.
That happens to most people.
That'd do it to anyone, yeah.
I've hardly said a word.
Excited, nervous, sort of a mixture of everything. Confident that chapters, though, if this Wales team can get back to the levels that we're used to, they can get the 3 points today. Like I said, it's not going to be easy. This Iran team can perform. We're going to see a different team than we did against England. So quietly confident, but nerves as every Welsh fan would be, and just ready to support the boys like the whole of Wales, and certainly the Red Wall, the fans that have travelled there in their numbers again will be feeling the same, but I'm fully confident in this set of lads.
Camera focuses again on Kiefer Moore, who is just pacing up and down that tunnel as he waits to be given the signal to follow his teammates out of the tunnel, and they are doing that now. Group of local children come out carrying the Welsh and the Iranian flags, the Welsh one going to our left, the Iranian one going to our right. It's I'm not saying this is a criticism, I'm just painting the picture for you. Stadium's probably 60% full, something like that. Plenty of empty seats on the top tier and certainly on the lower tier opposite us, but either end is full of Welsh fans to our left, Iranian fans to our right, and James will rejoin us at half-time. But now here are your commentary team in the Ahmed Bin Ali Stadium. Pat Nevin and first of all Ian Dennis.
Thanks, Mark. James said he was fearful about the Welsh supporters away towards our left-hand side. Remember that scene from Only Fools and Horses when Del Boy left the sunbed on for Rodney and he had the bright red face? You're going to see plenty of Rodneys walking around Doha later on. I'd actually say there's more Welsh supporters inside the stadium today than there was the other night against the United States, and they will be preparing their voices now as we stand for the national anthem. It always ticks a box, this one, land of my fathers. A rousing rendition, and no doubt replicated back home, because there are so many schools that have cancelled lessons today in Wales.
And now
in order for the school children to watch such a valuable game.
Republic of Iran.
As now, this is the national anthem for Iran. You may well have detected a few boos and jeers during that national anthem, which is what happened when they played England on Monday. But on Monday, the players didn't sing the national anthem, however, they did today. And I was reading a report in The Guardian online earlier when there was one Iranian politician who said they will never allow anyone to insult our anthem. And there are genuine fears for the players that they could have faced reprisals had they not sung the anthem here today. And Pat, it must be so difficult. I know we've touched upon it with Mark, but emotionally and politically charged coming into both the England game and this game for the Iranian players, and also fearing maybe for potential repercussions against for their families.
There is absolutely no doubt that was in those players' minds as the camera panned along. They didn't sing that national anthem, they mumbled it because they had to, and that was all over every single face. There's a beautiful tattoo, I don't often say that phrase, on one of the players' arms saying "Love me for who I am." There was kind of close-up of it, and it was a real moment of I wonder if that was put on quite recently. The booing that was going across, and there was a close-up of an Iranian man clearly who was in floods of tears. And you can't, was it because his anthem was being abused? Was it because they were having to sing it because of what was happening? I hope and expect it's because of what was happening back in his country. I just hope that those players can put this behind them for 90 minutes. It's so easy to say, so incredibly hard to do for those players. But they all look very, very moved by that moment, didn't they?
Yes. The Iranian support, by the way, when you look around this three-tiered bowl-like stadium under the searing sun, the heat is so intense. However, we talked before about the air conditioning. I know one of the announcers who's working out here in Qatar, and he was saying that ahead of the game, the pitch will be at around 21 degrees, and they won't allow, with the air conditioning, for the temperature to exceed anything like 27 degrees. And in fact, the air conditioning, we've got it blowing out behind us, so you can feel it on your calves. There's a real chill on the calves as we're sat here wearing shorts in our commentary position. But Pat, as ever well prepared, has brought a jacket. But the Iranian support, in fact, I can see a banner that is being bounced around in the top tier. "We love Iran," it says, but they're everywhere, the Iranian support. But then at the opposite end of where they were against the United States, there is that block of the red wall of the Wales support. Now, the other night they had about 4 blocks on the bottom tier and 1 block in the middle tier. This time they've got probably about 5.5 blocks on the bottom tier. There's another block down below, and then they've got 2 blocks of red in the middle tier behind that goal of Wayne Hennessey. Wales are in all red. Iran are in all white. Another 4 games for you live on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Sounds that will culminate in England against the United States at 7 o'clock tonight. Don't forget, through the BBC Sounds app, you can take BBC Radio 5 Live with you wherever you go. But certainly for the next 90 minutes, we hope to have the pleasure of your company, because Wales could take a significant step towards the knockout stages as far as Group B is concerned. This is the side. Wayne Hennessey is in goal, a back three of Mepham, Roden and Davies. Roberts and Nico Williams, the wing-backs. Ampadu and Ramsey in the centre of midfield. Bale, Moore and Wilson are the other three, playing from left to right as we look. Iran have switched. They've made 5 changes. They've gone to a 4-4-2. Hussein Husseini is in goal. Rezaeian the right back. Aurelian G and Majid Husseini, the 2 central defenders. Mohammed the left back. A midfield of Golazadeh, Nuraliahi, Estoloy and Heisafi, and then Taremi and Azmoun are the 2 up front. And Iran, who suffered that 6-2 defeat, their heaviest defeat in a World Cup against England, know that only a win for them will do. For Wales, their objective against the United States was to avoid defeat. Today, for Wales, it's all about the 3 points, and for that reason alone, Pat Nevin, we should have a good game of football.
Yeah, we were talking to some Welshmen downstairs beforehand, and they described this as Wales's World Cup final, and they meant it. They've got to win this, simple as that. They've got to go out and got to try and win it, and you can tell right from the start, the Iranians, they're very positive, they're ultra positive way they start. In fact, Wales have had their kick so far.
Diagonal cross coming in from Rezaeian, the right back who'd got forward, but he's put it out of play for a goal kick. Back in 1958, Wales drew their 3 group games, and then they had to have a playoff, which they actually won. But they're looking for their first victory in a World Cup in 64 years. But there is a real quick tempo about it from both sets of players. Wilson runs out into the space, far side the left. Back towards Nico Williams, cuts it onto his right foot and shoots. And it's off target, and it goes out for a goal kick. Nico Williams, who his granddad had passed away, he'd spent a day crying in the build-up to the game against the States. It was really a tough 24 hours for him. He dedicated that point to his grandfather, and there he was with a shot that flashed off target.
And the reason why he got the opportunity, Keeper Moore won the header, flicked it on. Gareth Bale must have looked at that and thought, right, he's going to win them all. I'll get on the end of something today.
Good atmosphere. You can hear the horns in the background. The Iranian flags continue to fly. The Wales supporters, I'm sure, at some stage will drop out the odd tune or two. Expect to hear Yama Houhid, that translates to still here, and they hope to still be here after they've played their final game next Tuesday against England. All 3 group games in this stadium, the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium, which is about 12.5 miles west of Doha. But certainly the Iranian support is extremely vocal here.
Do you know the other thing, Ian? Just watching the way the system's set up just now, you've got to say Bale and Moore are getting up against man-to-man marked. They're getting no cover behind, so those 2 will be up against 2 centre-backs. You don't do that with Gareth Bale generally. He must get chances in this game, just by the way, the hyper-positive way the Iranians have set up.
Golazadeh keeps drifting in from the right-hand side, but it's Taremi and Azmoun they've got to really worry about, as this is Heisafi, lifts it forward, and it just is a floated ball. I just mentioned him, actually, Golazadeh making that run. So he's coming in off that right touchline.
It's closer to a 4-3-3 they're playing.
Yeah.
You know, they've got a man up front, but it's not Taremi. They're putting Azmoun up front, but you've got both Golazadeh and Taremi coming from behind.
The opportunity, though, that might actually give Wales, it might give a greater licence for Nico Williams to run forward. Good diving header back outside the D. It was a diagonal ball played up towards Azmoun, but it was Mepham diving back to Wayne Hennessey, all in green, in the sunshine, away towards our left-hand side. Iran are pressing Wales. Clearance is given away by Ampadu and then lifted back forward once again. Do you think that the game just needs to settle down a fraction? It's a little bit too hurried.
I don't want it to settle down. I'm loving the pace that it's going at just now. You can tell that as 2 teams they know the importance of this to them staying in the World Cup. So, you know, I don't want it to slow down. If you try and slow it down just now, the chances are you'll be overrun. So I don't think they can at the moment. It almost needs both of them to do it. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't, because it's a great lively atmosphere and it's end-to-end so far, although no clear-cut chances yet.
That's the voice of Pat Nevin. Still 0-0, as the two home nations will essentially top and tail our 4 games of coverage for you today. England, the United States at 7 from the Al-Bat Stadium. Iran are on the attack. Ball played out to this near side. Mohamed, the left back, with a good cross into the penalty area. Golizade was there, it's collected on the far side. In comes the cross, Asmoon was there. Wales have got some work to do here, because Iran are getting men forward, and in fact, as Rezaeian, the right back, walks back to the halfway line, he whips up the Iranian crowd. They don't need much whipping up here inside this stadium. They're up for it, and the Iran players are up for it too. 0-0.
If you'd actually watched them playing against England, you'd say, is this anywhere like the same group of players?
And Purdue, he'd done well under pressure, try to squeeze it through to the path of Kiefer Moore. Here is Golizade outside the centre circle, plays it back, and now with Nuralahi out to Rezaeian once again, that right back, and they play the ball, but it's a good tempo. Ball over the head this time of Taremi. Asmoon, though, will make the run. A little shove in the back of Rodon, who did well actually under pressure to see it back towards Hennessey. Cushion header forward. Here is Taremi. He turns. Coming back from an offside position was Asmoon. His shot is low and it's right-footed. By the way, you mentioned the referee earlier. We've got Mario Escobar, who's an Argentinian referee. Drew Fisher is a Canadian who's in the VAR. But his assistant referees here, one's from Trinidad and Tobago, and the other one is from Costa Rica. When you talk about the inconsistencies that we've seen in this tournament so far, surely that can't help when you've got 4 different nationalities officiating the game.
Well, the hope is, communication-wise, they can all speak the same language. That's the very, very important thing when you're going through, with referees. I mean, different nations, fair enough, the rules are roughly the same, but the ability to communicate clearly in the same language is important.
Just the second ever meeting between the two nations. The first was in 1978. It was at Ninian Park at Cardiff City, where Cardiff's Phil Dwyer got the only goal. Had such a good career at Ninian Park. What was it, 13 years that he'd spent during his time there in South Wales. And here we are in 2022, competing in the World Cup, where Wales, who'd got that draw against the United States, and if they could get the 3 points, then going into the game against England, the United States would be under real pressure, because Wales, they would know, would be on 4 points. However, Iran have started brightly. Golizade forward. Taremi lets the ball run through. The return then from Asmoon. It was a nice little link-up play between the two. Between them, they've scored 71 goals for Iran, so they'll have that understanding. And we saw a glimpse of it.
No, they look great just now, that front three. Golizade, every time he gets the ball on the left-hand side there, very lively, very positive, very direct, good skills, knowledge, sees the game well, and he's got 2 players in front of him that he can find that want to work together. At the moment, I'm not saying they're exactly hanging on, but Wales, but the better team by some distance is Iran.
Well, the United States were the better side in the first half here on Monday. Wales changed it. Much improved second half performance with the introduction of Kiefer Moore. The concern in these opening 8-9 minutes of this first half that remains goalless is that Wales haven't really kept the ball very, very well at this stage. As the ball is played by Ampadu, Ramsey joins the attack, flies in the cross from the right-hand side, low, cut out, headed away then by Mohamed, the left back, and then Roberts forward on this near side, the right, playing as a right wing back, but it goes away from him and out for a goal kick, and the Iranian support in that corner of the ground are jumping up and down and waving their flags as it will be a goal kick. But already Rob Page is out to the corner of his technical area, and we'll be hoping that his side can start to settle.
Yeah, he's trying to calm it down a little bit, just slow it down. We know they're being beaten to the ball a lot of the time. They're not winning the midfield at the moment. They haven't, I don't think I've mentioned Gareth Bale's name in commentary yet. No. So they're not getting it to the players. I'm certainly keeping Mills with one header. So they're not getting it to the areas they need to get it to. But, You expected, we talked about this beforehand, I expected Iran to start this way. And it's about coping with it, make sure you don't give away any stupid chances, and then you can grow into the game.
Let's get the early thoughts of James Collins, part of that Euro 2016 successful squad, of course, back at in France. What have you made of it so far, James?
Yeah, it's been a lively start from Iran. Don't know. Expected, I think. Like I said, in leading up to the game, it wasn't going to be the same sort of team or the same setup that we saw when they played England. But it's been a good start. Wales have got to get a foothold in the game, do exactly what they're doing now, keep a bit of possession, get a bit of confidence, and work their way into the game.
Well, I know Robbie Savage on 606 after the Wales-United States game was very dismissive of Iran. But Group B is the only group in this World Cup with 4 teams who are ranked in the world's top 20. And sometimes you might not take too much interest in the rankings, and Iran certainly didn't look like a top 20 side in the world against England. Credit to Gareth Southgate's side for that, but they've made a decent start. But here now are Wales coming forward with Roberts. Cross is headed down, strikes the body of Ramsey. Wales in all red, playing from left to right. Really is an excellent atmosphere inside the stadium. Hope that's coming across, whether you're listening on BBC Sounds or through your digital radio, BBC Radio 5 Live. Roberts on the right with a cross. Kiefer Moore, great save by Hennessey. Kiefer Moore, outstretched right foot, beaten away by Hennessey, and Wales were denied.
Yeah, I was really surprised that he didn't put the ball in earlier, Conor Roberts. It took a long time. They passed it and passed it and passed it. When he put the ball in, you think, what kept you? Because you've got 2 great targets in there to go for. He's actually got a kick in the face for his trouble there as well. I think the defender is going for the ball.
Majid
Caught
Husseini
in the face, yeah. He's not. Kiefer actually isn't making any great complaints about it, but he's had to be brave there. Got it on target. But, you know, get it in there. You've only your 2 centre-backs, and as I said to you just a few minutes before, if you're marking man for man against Bale and Moore, it's a great opportunity. If you're left, if you're right, get it into the danger area and let them attack it.
He's got a cut above his left eye. So the 2 physios attending to at the moment. But I mean, it was a great save by Hussein. It was a reflex save just to initially beat it out. Not too dissimilar from the Hennessey save at that end when Joe Rodon had inadvertently deflected or diverted across from the right-hand side that Hennessey was able to beat out. But James, the first real chance of the game coming to Wales.
Yeah, and Pat's hit the nail on the head. You know, that's exactly what Wales need to do. They've got a little bit of possession, sort of slowed the game down a little bit, and get balls in the box. You know, we all know what Kiefer Moore can do with the right delivery, and he's shown it there. So hopefully that's something Robert Page will be drumming into the players every time they get in that position, get the ball in the box.
Well, the good news is that's James Collins back in the studio, is that he's back on his feet, and Kiefer Moore is wanting to come back onto the field of play. He's just unable to do so at the moment. The assistant referee on this near side is not allowing him to come on, and now he is, as Wales are all in red, playing from left to right. But a very good save from Husseini, who had well, he's the 3rd choice keeper really, but it was a very good save. Here is Bale. Pat Nevins quite rightly says we've hardly mentioned Gareth Bale's name, and yet he still manages to pop up at the right place at the right time.
Well, he mentioned before the game in the interviews, he's got a habit of popping up at the right time. And as a Scotsman, I can tell you, it's sometimes painful.
Here is Ampadu to Bale. Moore on the stretch, lays it back to Ampadu, has to sweep it out first time. Gareth Bale, of course, who delivered here on Monday night against the United States. Many Wales fans think that he's out of this world, talking of which he actually believes that aliens are real and he's seen a UFO. That's according to Stat Boy Tom, who starred on Patrick Keelty's show on 5 Live the other Saturday. I've lost track of days we've been here. The games and the intensity of the schedule, the days are just merging into one. But it was a Gareth Bale penalty that meant that it was a 1-1 draw, and Wales now looking to build on that here at this World Cup in Qatar. Header forward by Taremi. Hasafi gives chase, beaten to it by a well-timed challenge by Mepham. Mepham, incidentally, along with Gareth Bale, are the 2 Wales players that, if they were to pick up a yellow card today, could be suspended. Golizade
to Azmoun, back to Golazade, he's walked into the net. The flag has stayed down, and Iran have scored the opening goal. It was a lovely interchange of passing between the two, and he couldn't hardly miss. It's a real blow for Wales. Iran are ahead by a goal to nil.
I mean, the technical play between the understanding between the players, there will be at least one check for offside. At least one check for offside. It was very, very tight the first play through. Wales are absolutely convinced it was offside. They're absolutely convinced by it. We will see where that goes just now. But it was beautiful play. Little 1-2s.
Onside.
Yeah, onside. It throws it there.
Offside.
Offside. I thought it was offside, I have to say.
Offside on the second phase. The return ball from Azmoun back to Golazade. So this won't count, or we're not expecting it to count, James Collins.
No, yeah, it's all come from a bit of sloppy play from Connor Roberts, but you know it's going to be disallowed for offside, thank goodness. But yeah, it's come from Wales's own doing. You know, a bad ball, crossfield ball from Connor Roberts. But again, you know, the front two from Iran, you can see how they've played together for so long. You know, the understanding they've got, and you know, Wales have got away with one there.
And play back underway. The goal has been ruled out for offside after VAR, not from the first pass. It was the second ball from Azmoun to Golazade, who could hardly miss from close range. However, we'd highlighted it quite early on, Pat. The fact that Golazade keeps drifting in from the right, that has got to be, the warning has got to be heeded by Wales.
Well, he's a player. I mean, he's very good. But his understanding of the play and understanding where the gaps are, and also, well, wait a minute, his keeper's at the ball in a dangerous position.
More right-hand side, support from Roberts. Infield, right corner of the area to Gareth Bale. Bale down towards the corner flag, running away from two white shirts. He's gone down holding his face. The assistant referee has raised his flag. It was Mohammed, the left back. I'm not too sure it was as bad as it looked from Gareth Bale.
Actually, do you know,
he's caught him just underneath the chin.
He actually has caught him. I don't think it's deliberate at all, but he has caught him underneath the chin. I hope they don't take too dim a view of that. Sometimes just with arms flailing, you can catch people, and I think that's what's happened there. And just going on, I'm talking earlier on about very interesting styles now. The technical understanding with the front three, and it is a front three from Iran, with Golazade and Azmoun and Tarami, is magnificent. They are top quality, and not just for Iranian football, they are top 20. But you look at Moore and Bale, they will get chances. There is no doubt they will get chances. Really interesting. It's so hard to call, even though the Iranians actually look the better team on the ball at the moment.
So Wales have a free kick down by the byline. They're playing it all red from left to right. It's on the right-hand side. Wilson to take it. Iran have every white shirt back. The Argentinian referee is having to sort out a little bit of pushing and shoving and some squabbles in the penalty area. Kiefer Moore, Mepham, the horns are blaring. Wales will hope to silence those Iranian horns. Still the jostling takes place. The referee has to settle this again.
They're scared to death of Kiefer Moore, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are worried, and understandably so.
And Moore is using Ben Davies and Mepham as a shield. In comes the free kick. I think the keeper got something on that. Out of the penalty area it goes. Slipped by Nico Williams. Scoops the ball in long. Headed out by Azmoun for Iran. Collected by Wilson on this near side for Wales. Ampadu delivers the cross from the right. Azmoun, break on for Iran. Forward ball. Golazade has appeared on the left-hand side. Taremi's going ahead of him. Azmoun going through the middle as well. Taremi turns. The white shirts are flooding forward. Shot, charged down. Goes out towards the far side. Then it's cleared away by Rodon. Out for a throw. What a game we've got here on BBC Radio 5 Live, 0-0.
It's a cracker. You know, some of the teams in this World Cup, when they break, you think, yeah, you're not doing anything here. You haven't got the technique to be able to pick out the important and the right pass. The Iranians have got it. They have absolutely got that. Wales, as soon as they get the ball wide at any time, they look like capable of creating chances. This is a superb game of football so far.
On that far side, cross from the right-hand side, over the head of Azmoun. He's fallen to the floor, claiming he was pushed. Roberts Dennis with a clearance. He was caught by I think it was Mohammed who
caught him. Roberts is back on his feet. Can I make an observation about the VAR, by the way? When Golazade put the ball in for the disallowed goal, he looked to the assistant referee. The assistant referee at no point raised his flag. They said with the introduction of VAR that the officials you wouldn't re-referee. Why doesn't the assistant referee still make the judgment call? He's not making the call, he's leaving it for the VAR.
I just think he got it wrong. As simple as that. He got it wrong. The assistant referee thought it was onside. He won't raise his flag then because he thought it was onside. That's what you got the VAR for, to go and say, right, OK, if it's an obvious mistake, which it was, you make the decision.
Well, certainly it was a let-off for Wales. 21 minutes played. Pat Nevin is with us here. James Collins, 51 caps during his career for Wales. He's back in the studio watching on in a game that Wales have to win. Mind you, so do Iran after their heavy defeat on the opening day against England, who at 7 o'clock tonight take on the United States. John Murray, Rob Green, Kelly Cates inside the stadium from around 3-ish, did we say? Was that the instruction that by the time that Team England would arrive ahead of the kickoff? And in between that, we've got still 2 more commentaries to come. Qatar against Senegal and the Netherlands against Ecuador at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And in fact, with that Qatar-Senegal game, like this one, you can watch the match with the 5 Live commentary. Just look for the World Cup Extra on the BBC iPlayer. Iran coming forward with Rezaeian, the right back, and he was fouled, and it'll be a free kick to Iran, 10 yards forward of the centre circle in the Wales half. 22 minutes played, 0-0.
So far, quite impressed with the referee. Part of the reason why it's going at that sort of pace is because he is A, letting 1 or 2 little nudges go, but B, probably just as importantly, he's not got the cards out needlessly. Some referees do panic at this stage. He hasn't panicked, and that's another reason why it's been such an open, lively, fast-flowing game.
So this free kick 10 yards forward of the centre circle in the Wales half. Wales have got 6-7 red shirts on the edge of the area. Nico Williams is concerned by Golazade, who's staying out on that right-hand side, but there are 5 Iranian players on the edge of the area, so they're trying to protect Hennessey as best as they can. In comes the free kick. Azmoun with a header. Climbed high, directed it wide. Certainly the fact that Sada Azmoun joining Mehdi Taremi up front, they have a genuine threat.
They have. We mentioned beforehand what their warm-up was. Their warm-up was getting the ball into them all the time, be it high, be it low. Both players are very, very good at attacking. Maybe more so Azmoun in the air. But don't write off Taremi either. He's really decent in the air. So they've been trying that. He got the end of that. I thought he was second favourite, but he almost got on target.
Azmoun plays for Bayer Leverkusen. Taremi plays for Porto. As Williams was...
I thought that was a terrible challenge.
Heavy challenge far side. He's writhing in agony at the moment, is Williams.
That looked worthy of me to a yellow card. Absolutely worthy of me. I think it was really quite... By the way, Williams has done well. Can't be that badly injured. He's rolled 2 yards back onto the pitch.
Well, he's back on his feet. He was off the pitch. Such was the nature of the challenge as Iran are pressing there. And Ampadu almost caught in possession. And then he rolled back onto the pitch. But he's in pain. Yeah, he needs to go down again.
Yeah, either go down or, you know, to be honest, he needs to get help there. I'm sure he was caught bad. That looked like a really bad one to me. The tackle. We're going to see it in slow motion here. Yeah, his knee's done. He's just wiped out. No chance of getting the ball there. That's a terrible decision. After me saying the referee's done quite well, you've got to call that one. That's a free kick and possibly a yellow card.
Rezaeian, the right back with the challenge, who did go across to make sure that he was all right, but he's still hobbling badly at the moment. And he's just trying to shake off that blow to the right leg, because it was a heavy challenge.
All the hardest defenders do that. They nail you and then they go over and shake your hand. That's not something to be applauded.
Well, you should know, Pat.
Oh, there was a
You've been subject to a heavy challenge or two during your playing career. Here is Ramsey, forward for Wales, still 0-0. Left-hand side, switches play to the right. Cushion controlled by Roberts, lays it back behind him. Mepham, Ampadu. Now Wilson dropping into the centre circle, plays the ball across to Tottenham's Ben Davies. Did ever so well the other night against the United States. And now it's with Harry Wilson. Just as that happened at times in the second half against the United States, Wilson and Ramsey have rotated, so Wilson is now operating in a deeper midfield role. Ramsey's gone a little bit further advanced. Carlos Queiroz down below is complaining about a decision in his suit. He's running down the touchline to have a word with the assistant referee.
We're talking about the assistants on the far side who didn't call the offside. The one on the near side, he's actually got everything wrong so far. He can't make a decision, he's hesitant, and then he just guesses.
Ampadu's forward ball. Wilson challenged on the edge of the area. Break on now for Iran. Golazade plays the ball forward. Azmoun tries to take it in his stride. He's up against Rodon. Rodon, well-timed sliding challenge. Went with him stride for stride, had to get in there. Williams, who's now running a little bit more freely, and then until he was bundled over once again by Rezaeian, the right back, and it will be a throw to Wales. But what a well-timed challenge from Joe Rodon.
Well, it had to be there, you know. Lots and lots of pace he was up against there, but he waited, and then just a little nudge when he needed to. The referee's finally got that one right from Nico Williams, twice in a row. I don't think he wants to run up the line. Now, here's a slight concern. You talked about an injury beforehand to Azmoun. He was carrying a slight injury beforehand.
Yeah, he was,
He's gone down. Didn't see much in that unless he's had his toe stood on. He's holding his toe there. But sometimes that's a player who's hurt his calf, and he's trying to pull it back, and that would be a concern.
Well, that was the issue for him, a calf injury that he's had since early October. In fact, he hadn't played for Bayer Leverkusen since the 30th of September. He did play in the last 13 minutes against England, but that would be a concern for him at the moment.
They're actually working on, they look as if they're working on his calf. And that's a real concern. That's a real worry for the Iranians. It's great news for Wales. He has looked fantastic, hasn't he? He's been lively, he's been strong, intelligent in his play up front, and that understanding that he's got alongside Taremi. So if he goes off, that'll be a real blow to them. But Wales could do with a respite just now. I think this will help Wales. This little bit of calm time now. Go over, have a word with the manager. He's sitting the raw pages down there, giving all the information as he possibly can. Just a little bit of a rest, because it's been an incredible pace.
Certainly has. If you've just joined us, it is Wales 0, Iran 0, but both sides have had chances. Roberts after 12 minutes with a cross from the right, Moore with an outstretched right leg, reflex save from Hennessey to beat it away, and then Golazade had a goal disallowed, and he linked up with Azmoun, and then from close range had that return ball from Azmoun to Golazade. He was in an offside position, and after a VAR check, it was disallowed. As we approach the half hour, we're still goalless. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live, and here is Wilson on the halfway line. Play is back underway, and Azmoun, after that treatment, looks to be running quite freely. Ramsey nicks it out towards Harry Wilson. Wilson keeps the ball in play in front of the bald-headed coach down below, Rob Page, decked out all in black. Not necessarily a wise choice, although at least he's now not in the sunshine, the Wales coach down below, as Wales are under pressure from Rezaeian, the right back, who likes to get forward at every opportunity. It's a Wales throw, comes across to Ampadu, now towards Mepham. Mepham runs forward, hits a long right-footed ball. Moore heads the ball back towards Gareth Bale, hits it first time. As it drops, he was a long way out, and he was on the run, and it was a weak effort.
I know it's a Gareth Bale shot, but I thought Kiefer Moore could maybe have taken that in there, you know, as it was running past him. He was running along the 18-yard line. That shot's never going to beat a goalkeeper, and Kiefer seemed to just leave it. But he's actually unbeatable in the air, isn't he, Kiefer Moore? Every time the ball's played up, and he's laying it off, as I said, he's bringing other players into it. He's such a big part of the way that Wales have to play here.
Ball's on that far side, the left. Wales are playing from left to right. Nico Williams, though, has lost it. He now tries to win it back from Rezaeian. Ball cleared downfield. Davies picks it up midway through the Iran half for Wales. And now inside. Wilson finds some space, runs forward, 30 yards from goal, looking for Kiefer Moore. It was a very good interception from Pour Alianji, as again Rodon, reading the situation very well, prevents it from reaching Azmoun. So two Watchful defenders at both ends of the field for their respective sides. Ball in field from Bale to Ramsey. Gets stuck underneath his feet. Has to hold off the challenge of Estoloy. Ramsey drops back towards the centre circle. Now out towards Mepham. Mepham goes on a run. Roberts plays the ball inside. Gets it back from Harry Wilson. Ampadu controls it. Now looking towards Mepham and headed away. But in fact, Ampadu was caught late. Free kick to Wales. Central position midway through the Iran half goalless.
Yeah, but a little bit better from Wales there. They're holding the ball quite well. There's a bit of frustration that carried on through that, and that's why the foot was left in there. Definitely, again, a foul. There are other referees that will give a yellow card for that. There's no doubt they would. But the referee, he wants to keep this game running well. What has been interesting is watching very closely after the injury to Azmoun. He is actually moving okay again. That was a concern for the Iranians there. But his movement is fantastic. He always gets himself one-on-one with the defenders. So far, Mepham's actually done a brilliant job of showing him down the line and covering him. However, chance to get into the back post now for Wales.
Mario Escobar had a word with Estoloy, but there was no yellow card, just a talking to. Free kick to Wales. Iran, a line of white shirts on the edge of the penalty area. Free kick will be taken midway through the Iran half. Ramsey or Wilson to take it. Wilson leaves it for Ramsey, right-footed, rather flat ball in. Kneed away by Estoloy. Ramsey's the player who's going to retrieve it on the halfway line, and he plays it all the way back to Hennessey. So we've got 13 minutes remaining, and it's tight and it's tense. How are you feeling, James Collins?
Slightly better the last 5, to be honest, Deno. Going back to that last free kick, you know, that's a great opportunity for Wales to get the ball in the box, and it's been a couple of times now. The quality hasn't been there. You know, we talk about Kiefer Moore's size and his aerial ability, and the quality hasn't been there from set play, so that certainly has to improve.
Well, here they come with a cross. Rezaeian delivers it deep. Headed away by Mepham. Hooked downfield by Roberts. He kept the ball in play. Loose ball, though, picked up by Heysafi. His cross, a diagonal ball in from the left for Iran. Ramsey plays it back. Rodon on the edge of his own penalty area. Wilson is able to turn. And in the bright sunshine, Wales, with 12 minutes to go to half-time, slowly but surely build from the back. So we've got James Collins and Pat Nevin here on BBC Radio 5 Live as Bale to Ramsey. And Ampadu passes the ball along the ground. And Ben Davies comes forward now, the Tottenham defender, over the halfway line, accelerates, runs in field, quickly closed down, and then it's Ramsey who takes over in the shadows of the stand away towards our right-hand side. Williams heads the ball forward from the left touchline. Wilson with the cutback. Bale is there. It drops towards Roberts. Roberts plays the ball back to Mepham. Patient play by Wales, looking to go to Kiefer Moore in the inside right channel of the penalty area, and it runs away from him and out for a goal kick. Pat Nevin.
If you're Welsh and you're listening, I would almost say, and breathe, because they've been put under a huge amount of pressure that first 20-25 minutes. And just as James was saying there, feels a bit better after these last 5 minutes, and he's right to do so, because they're in the game now. They're getting a little bit more hold in midfield. I would say in that transition stuff that you get in the midfield there, the Iranians still look the better team, but it's a more even game now, and it's, you know, they can calm down a little bit. There's still some, you know, mad running about from Nourani in the midfield there, but in actual fact, the high press, that's not happening anymore. So they've probably managed to just about cope with that. They're always going to get away with pressure. I think Wales have just about got over that.
Just over 10 minutes to go to half-time of normal time in the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium here in Qatar, as the ball is played downfield by Hosseini, the Iranian keeper, and then it's stabbed forward by Estoloy. Ramsey now picks up the loose ball for Wales. Ramsey hits it downfield, looking for the run of Gareth Bale, brought under control though by Majid Hosseini, and then Mohammed turns and hits it downfield. Azmoun up against Rodon. Rodon again under pressure, did well. He might have just jarred his back there, but once again he was right on his shoulder. Any slip by Rodon, Azmoun's in.
He manipulates the position brilliantly, doesn't he? The amount of the 3 centre-backs there, he's up against the 3 of them. but the amount of times he finds himself one-on-one, because he just peels brilliantly, he knows where the danger is, he's not got in the end of it. But I'll tell you what, every time Rodon, Meffert and Ben Davies to some degree, they have to keep their eyes on that guy because his movement's superb.
Iran in possession, although the ball is a loose one. It's collected by Mohammed. His ball back to Pouralianji wasn't the best either, and the keeper Hennessey actually was alert to it. He came out of his penalty area all in blue away towards our right hand side, and his clearance eventually runs through to his opposite number, Hennessey. It's an underarm throw out. Ball played inside by Roberts. Ampadu was caught a little bit late by Azmoun. Wales play the ball back. Rodon, who's playing in the centre of the three, he's got Mepham to the right, Ben Davies to the left, and here is the Tottenham player who now gets it back from Ampadu. And now it's with Ben Davies once more on that far side to Nico Williams. Williams to Bale, able to turn. Bale switches play to Roberts, who's advanced, but Mohammed with the header, with the interception. Loose ball picked up. They're dropping back a little bit here, are Iran. And the space is with Wilson, and he's picked out Nico Williams, left side of the penalty area. It bobbled for him off his shins. He went into the challenge, he's turned, but he's run the ball out of play for a goal kick. He was unfortunate.
He was incredibly unfortunate there. I mean, he's doing some job up and down that line, Nico Williams. How much has been asked of him? He's taken a few hits already as well. But that little trick that he's got, a little flick behind, you know, the defender sees it coming, but can't stop it. Gets to the byline and it just trundled over. And every time he makes one of those runs, it bends over. He breathes hard because there's so much effort being asked of him today.
Did you feel our little metal commentary platform vibrating? I just wonder if there's somebody nearby of a Welsh persuasion who's getting a little bit nervous and tension with his knee.
I think there's more than one. There's quite a lot. We're very, very nervous at this point in time. But as I say, slightly less nervous than before, because not exactly run the fight out of the Iranian team, but they were always going to start at 100 mile an hour, and it certainly isn't that just now.
Well, 8 minutes to go to half-time. Mark Chapman is with us here in the stadium. And if it's been, at times, quite exciting this first half, the second half will certainly have its moments. We've got boxing on 5 Live on Saturday night. Dillian White and Jermaine Franklin at around 10 o'clock on 5 Live from Wembley. But if you think it's still 0-0 going into the second half, these two sides will continue to trade blows, because a draw, they will effectively cancel each other out.
No, you don't want that. You want to get through. You know, obviously, you could almost argue, Wales would argue that's not too bad for us, because the USA in the last game, Wales, the Iranians have got England. England might be through. You know, yeah, and if you make 11 changes for England, it's still a good team. But, you know, they don't need it maybe by that point in time. So, yeah, I think both teams, for different reasons, must go for this.
Ampadu doing well, getting there in between Taremi and Nourahani. Cross from the left-hand side. Bale, it was a low one, didn't have any elevation. It was easily cut out by Hosseini, the central defender. Bale now comes forward, tries to pass it towards Ramsey. Breaks back to Nico Williams, first-time cross. Clearance by Pouralianji, actually struck his own player, but the last touch came off Nico Williams, and it will be a goal kick. He actually thinks it's a corner, but it did strike the Wales defender last, and it will be a goal kick to Iran, and we've got about 6 minutes to go to half-time. You're listening to 5 Live, and it's still 0-0.
Well, you talk about Nico Williams there as the full-back or the wing-back or whatever, but his start position's so high up the pitch. So that's made a bit of a change to the game. But sometimes if you are playing with wing-backs, how they play is imperative. If they get further forward, it changes the whole dynamic of the game for you. So it's imperative they get as far up as possible without leaving too many gaps at the back. And certainly Nico's got on the left-hand side time and again in this first half.
Just seen a shot of a female Iranian supporter. Just for a little bit of context, Iran remains the only country in the world where women are almost never allowed in a stadium to watch a game of football. So the fact that there are so many female supporters here cheering on Iran is certainly something that you wouldn't get in their own country. And there are a lot of Iranian supporters here with the horns that are constantly being sounded.
Do you know, oddly enough, Ian, we were talking about the support beforehand. It looks as if there's a lot of empty seats before. It looks pretty full now. It's not far off it, particularly up at the Iranian end.
Don't worry, there'll still be a crowd of around 60,000 from FIFA. And the attendance when it's announced later on. In comes the cross. It's a deep one towards the far side, and not able to keep it in play was Majid Hosseini running forward.
I talked about this in the game yesterday. I'm so surprised the teams don't use this more often. That sun is directly in the goalkeeper's eyes, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's in Hennessey's eyes. But nothing has really been put right down his throat, as it were, to go and ask him a question. To go and, cause, I mean, it's, keepers are used to it. It happens now and again. But it's not enjoyable, especially if it comes straight out of the sun. That was an opportunity to do it there, and he didn't use it.
It's still goalless. And certainly Wales have had a very, would you say, comfortable last 10 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it's calmed down, the game's calmed down. I mean, a lot of teams will try and play, that incredibly high-tempo, game. You can't do it. You cannot do it for 90 minutes. And you certainly can't do it every 3 days, this part of the season. I mean, I think we're watching it so far. I think the Japanese have been closest to being able to keep it going.
Good ball forward there. And then it's played back towards Wilson. Wilson with a shot, charged down, looking for a corner kick, and they've got one as well. It's a lovely through ball. I think it was initially aimed towards Kiefer Moore, who actually got a touch to it, and then Wilson hit it first time. Corner kick to Wales.
And this is one of the biggest opportunities that Wales get, the set pieces or the corner kicks. Now, the last free kick they took wasn't taken well at all. You can allow it to give it some air. I mean, Moore is so good in the air. We know Gareth Bale's good in the air as well. And they've got the three centre-backs that can come up, so, don't hit the first man.
Corner kick on the right-hand side. The goalkeeper, that's a very good take. Backpedaling. He had Kiefer Moore coming in from behind him, and it was a really confident take by Hussein Hosseini.
He had to get it. Kiefer Moore was free, wasn't he? Absolutely free behind him for the little nod in. Now, they'll tell you that's what their plan is. If it's in the 6-yard line, it's the goalkeeper's ball, but you can't take too many chances there and leave Kiefer Moore on his own.
He was the 20th minute substitute against England when Beranvand suffered that blow and had to leave the field with concussion. There's a forward ball towards Taremi. Mepham holds him off outside of his penalty area, and he's going to try and marshal it out for a goal kick, but it didn't have the pace on it, so then he had to make the clearance. Out of play it goes for a throw. This is Haisafi, the captain for Iran. Plays the ball back for Alianji. Switches play out towards the right-hand side. It's a lofted ball. It's a good aerial duel. Won by Nico Williams. Loose ball picked up by Ramsey. And Wales get a throw on the halfway line on that far side to left with 2 minutes of the half remaining. They take the throw quickly down the left. Ramsey doesn't get any change out of Hosseini, who brings the ball away. Plays it low towards Taremi. Sharp little turn. Got away from Wilson, but not so from Mepham. And Wales are back in possession, all in red, playing from left to right. Ampadu takes over. Moore had made the run, nobody spotted it. Had to go back to Ampadu. Now he floats the ball forward. Gareth Bale beaten in the air, drops to the feet of Moore, bounces away from him. Late flag. It was, I think, for Gareth Bale.
Yeah, but why not just play on?
Yeah.
They're in a brilliant position, the Iranians, to break there. They're fuming about that, and they've absolutely every right to be feeling it. Taremi's getting the ball in the midfield. That is probably where they're best at the moment. Breaking through the centre, playing little 1-2s, that front three that we were talking about before. I understand why they're fuming about that, but Wales should be delighted, which I think they are.
It's going to be the free kick to be taken by Hosseini. Strikes it long, right-footed. Rodon shows his strength. Throws Azmoun to the ground. Iran, though, pick up the loose ball. Played out by Nurulahi. Rezaeian, the right back, looking for the return ball, and he's not going to give chase of that, the Sunshine. Out it goes for a goal kick, 0-0.
I've just figured something out. Go on, it's taken me a wee while to figure this one out. I was amazed by how few Iranian fans were in before the game. I couldn't believe it, because I know what Iranian fans are like. They love following their team, and they come in big numbers. They stayed away from the anthem, didn't they? They've absolutely stayed out for the anthem.
Yes.
And look at it now. It's completely mobbed there.
Yeah. Those that were inside the stadium booed the Iranian national anthem.
thing is that I think they're worried about people seeing them doing the anthem.
Yeah. Here is Ampadu. Bale away from Nico Williams. Edge of the area, it's cleared by Hennessey, the defender. Didn't kept in play on that far side. So into stoppage time, of which there is an additional time of 4 minutes. 4 minutes additional time. BBC Radio 5 Live. Still to come. Qatar, Senegal from 1. Netherlands, Ecuador at 4. And then England against the United States at 7 o'clock. Wales with a throw left-hand side. Ben Davies rides up the chest for Mepham, hits it right-footed, forward, downward header, back by Connor Roberts, picked up by Ramsey, right-hand side, plays it to Roberts. Roberts with the first-time cross, cleared away on the stretch by Hennessey. Here is Ramsey, he plays the ball in field. Ampadu tries to switch it back out towards the right. Interception from Mohamed. Wales, though, with their own interception, courtesy of Mepham, and Wales now with Roberts, charged down by Hennessey. The ball is volleyed up forward. Good control by Azmoun. Out to Golazade, looking for the run of Taremi ahead of him. Taremi enters the penalty area right-hand side, holds the ball up with his back to goal, waits for some support, plays it ahead of him down that right-hand side. Golazade down by the byline. Back it goes now to Rezaeian, the right back, right corner of the area. Iran in stoppage time. Now the cross comes in. Azmoun slides in with his feet 6 yards out. Couldn't get a telling touch. Out of play it goes for a goal kick. You're listening to 5 Live. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, but as ever, Azmoun, he is a super centre forward, isn't he? Every time the ball's put into a danger area, he's very close to it. The Welsh defence has been fantastic so far to manage to stop him. Rodon gets in the right area there. They're learning a bit more about it. Mepham a couple of times has got in front of him, but that was, I see inches, 6 inches, 5 inches, no more than that. Really, really good move by Iran. But it's a 0-0, but it's one of the really great 0-0s. I'm really enjoying it.
Hennessey taking his time with the goal kick. Moore tries to get on the end of it, but it bounces its way through to the left back, Mohamed. Volleys it away downfield. Davis heads it forward, gets plenty of distance on that too. Back it drops towards Mohamed, the left back for Iran. Flicked on then by Hennessey. Taremi's going to run in behind, and Rodon didn't get there. Rodon was late, and Joe Rodon's going to get a yellow card, and he knew it as well. Taremi was brought down, Rodon is booked.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where he's committed to it, and he's realised when he's committed to it, I shouldn't be doing this, because if I don't get it, I'm going to get a yellow card. If he'd have just slowed down and just shown him down the line, he wouldn't have gone anywhere. But I think Rodon's really angry himself. Do you know what? He got there in time, but completely missed the ball. Yeah. It wasn't that he got late, he just missed the ball.
Up until then, his reading of the situation and his timely interventions, you couldn't fault him. So now he needs to certainly be disciplined throughout the rest of the game. He's on a yellow card. The free kick is just probably no more than a foot in from the left touchline, and it's Hennessey who's going to take it. They've got one in the wall.
It's a tempting possession, Ian. A very tempting possession for a left footer. There's a massive gap for them to find between the defenders and the goalkeeper here.
Hennessey's 2 or 3 yards off his line, arcs its way in now, the free kick. Pulled back, Taremi has a shot, never really got hold of it, looking for maybe a handball from Gareth Bale, as it dropped rather awkwardly from the left-hand side. It almost presented an opportunity for Azmoun. Shot comes in from distance and gathered in at the second attempt by Hennessey from the effort from Nurulahi.
They're still going on about the handball. I mean, they'll be looking at it, obviously. My initial thought was it hit his hand. Question is, was his hand raised? Was it away from his body? They will be checking it.
The referee, though, blows his half-time whistle, and after a very exciting first 45 minutes, it remains Wales 0, Iran 0. Moore certainly had a good chance for Wales after 12 minutes. Iran have had a goal disallowed 4 minutes later, which was the correct decision. But in a game where both sides need to win, we are yet to have the opening goal. Goalless, Mark.
It's a fascinating game, isn't it? And it's really ebbed and flowed. It was almost as if the disallowed goal for Iran that was overturned by VAR just deflated them a little bit for 15 minutes. Plus, they couldn't keep up at that lick.
There was no chance of them keeping up at that, but you understood why they did it. We talked about it before the game. I mean, everyone, it was Danny was talking about it, James was talking about it, I expected it as well, to come out at that pace, but they didn't get the reward they needed. And it would be silly to keep on going at that level. They're not capable of it. Also, they're capable of playing other ways as well. When you watch the Iranian team now, to be honest, this is a top team. They are technically very good. Didn't see that coming, did you, after the England game? But, you know, from midfield, the two strikers working together, I have to add on Golazadi as well on the right-hand side. If Wales get out of this and win this game, what a job they've done.
Yeah, he was the one of the front three that we didn't mention at the start. And that, arguably, he's been the most impressive of the front three. He plays his club football for Charleroi in Belgium.
Well, the thing about it, if you're playing against a back three and a wing back and you're a wide player, that's where the gap is. So you know that's where you're going to get the gap. If you can lose, and he did lose Nico Williams a couple of times, but Nico's doing the whole flank. So he got behind there, and as soon as you get behind there, you've got space in front of you and you're drawing defenders out. But he's got his head up. Already in this World Cup, I've seen many players get the ball in those positions, the head's down, and you think, oh, goodness sake, get your head up and see the opportunities. He's one of those players because he knows he's got two strikers ahead of him who've got great understanding, and they are very clever indeed.
Joe Rodon probably been Wales' best player, James Collins, and now he's got a very difficult second 45 minutes on a booking.
Yes, it's negative really from a Wales point of view that Joe Rodon, our centre-half's probably been our best player, but as Moon, I must say, up front has been brilliant. We knew his quality before the game. It just worries me a little bit that Joe Rodon's been left. It seems he's been left one-on-one 3 or 4 times. You know, I know Wales are trying to press, but you know you can't carry on like that. Clearly, the 3 lads up front for Iran are technically good. They understand each other. They can, you know, they're interchanging of movements really good. So as far, Wales have defended well against it, but I wouldn't like to see Joe Rodon or any of the back 3, Ben Davies or Chris Mepham, left one-on-one with them with space, because like I said, they've got quality and can punish any team.
And Iran are more than happy to wait and hit you on the counter and leave that one-on-one.
Definitely, Chad. They've done it numerous occasions, and they're quick on the counter as well. You know, they're letting Wales have the ball sometimes in front of their back 4. And I must say again, when Wales do get into that position when they have got the ball, their quality from cross it. You know, you've got Kiefer Moore. We keep mentioning his name. You've got Kiefer Moore in the box there. The quality's is not been there from set plays and from open play with crosses.
Just get it in the box.
Yeah,
I mean, I know
with
that.
Quality,
I know that sounds quite simplistic, but the one time they did get it in, there was a chance in it, and he forced to save.
The corners as well, chappers, and the free kicks. You know, we're trying to whip this ball in, and you know, the majority of times it's hit the front man or it's been poor quality. Why not? You've got the big man in the box. Just lift it, get it into an area where Kiefer Moore can attack the ball. He might not score, you know, he might get a header on target, but what he will do, he'll cause a bit of carnage, and the ball might drop to a Gareth Bale or an Aaron Ramsey or someone to tap it in. So certainly defensively they've done well. I wouldn't like to see him defending like that, you know, as in that much in the second half, but certainly the quality into the box has definitely got to improve.
4 games today in total here on 5 Live and across BBC Sound. Second half next. Then our second game is Qatar, Senegal. We'll preview that shortly. And don't forget this evening, England against USA. It is a 7 o'clock kickoff. Full commentary here on 5 Live. It is 6 minutes shy of 11 o'clock. Lisa McCormick has the news.
Take the World Cup with you. Qatar 2022.
On BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Nurses in England, Wales and Northern Ireland are set for one of the biggest walkouts in the NHS's history. The Royal College of Nursing has announced strikes on the 15th and 20th of December in a dispute about pay. The government says the union's demand for a 19% increase is unreasonable. Nick Hume is head of the East Suffolk and North Essex NHS Trust. He says they're prepared for disruption.
We've been very careful to make sure that we can protect those emergency services, going through all of our services with our nursing staff and with the unions to identify those areas that obviously they're the obvious ones in terms of the A&E departments and the paediatric A&E, emergency theatres, emergency surgery.
The government says it wants to make the sharing of doctored porn images online without consent a crime in England and Wales. So-called deep fake images involve a person's face being put on someone else's body. The Justice Secretary, Dominic Raab, says he wants to close loopholes in the law. Campaigners claim the police are failing to investigate complaints and support victims of stalking. The National Stalking Consortium says only 5% of cases in England and Wales result in someone being charged. They've launched a super complaint highlighting trends in the way that forces approach stalking. The actor Emma Corrin is calling for male and female awards at film ceremonies to be replaced with a single gender-neutral category. They're non-binary but won a Best Actress award for their portrayal of Princess Diana in The Crown at last year's Golden Globes.
It's difficult for me at the moment trying to justify it in my head being non-binary and being nominated in female categories. But really the conversation needs to be about having more representation in the material itself for non-binary people, for queer people, for trans people. When more actors are playing those roles, then I think there will be more of an urgency with which these questions will be addressed.
And experts are predicting a quieter Black Friday this year because of the rising cost of living. They say overall sales and profits will be lower than last year, despite more people heading out to the high street. It's the first festive season without COVID rules for 3 years.
The World Cup on BBC Sounds.
With coverage of every single game on 5 Live.
Oh, what an amazing goal! Kylian Mbappe!
Expert analysis and debate with some of the biggest names in football on the World Cup Daily Podcast.
What Gareth Southgate wants is that they can perform under the most intense pressure they will ever experience.
And a bit of fun in Match of the Day Top 10 with Gary Lineker.
Micah Richards is back along with Alan Shearer and myself for the biggest international football tournament on the planet.
Take the World Cup with you. Listen on BBC Sounds.
BBC 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022 with Mark Chapman.
0-0 at half-time between Wales and Iran. Second half on the way. BBC Sports' Nesta McGregor has been in the ground and has now gone back outside the ground to talk to us before coming back in the ground. I'm guessing for the second half. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I'm getting my steps in. Can I say, chappers, silence has never felt so good because that is arguably the loudest stadium I've ever been into. I've got one of those watches that lets you know when you've been subjected to excessive audio levels. It's given up, mate. It's not having it.
God blimey, you all have been sat near the PA at England-Iran on Monday, which was, I think, the loudest PA I've ever heard anywhere on the planet. It has been one of the better atmospheres at this World Cup, hasn't it, actually? And the Iranians are much more here in much greater numbers than they were for that England game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like a home game for them. And where we're sat, there is an elderly gentleman who, despite his, frail frame, is the orchestra of the entire stadium. And every now and then, he kind of gets up. He's got one of those, it's not a vuvuzela, but something similar. And he's literally conducting the crowd. I've never heard a throw-in, a goal kick, a tackle, applauded the way it is. We've had to stand for most of the first half because no one around us is sat down watching anything. It's loud, it's busy, it's great atmosphere, despite maybe it not being the best football, but the atmosphere is definitely top notch.
Yeah, which may have been a surprise, actually, certainly at the start when the ground was maybe 60% full. Pat made the point in commentary that maybe a lot of the Iranians stayed out until after the national anthem before coming in. We'd also heard that Welsh fans had issues coming from Dubai into Qatar because of issues with the hire card, which is the equivalent of a Qatari visa that we all need to get into the country.
Yeah, both those things are true, and we've been to stadiums where they perhaps have been not at capacity for other reasons, but yeah, we don't have exact numbers on those Welsh fans, but we know that some of them travelling from Dubai, like you say, you need a match ticket and a visa to enter the country. The visa issuing app crashed this morning, so fans have been unable to fly. I think it's just an hour flight as well. It's obviously not ideal, but more importantly, it's not a cheap mistake to be caught up in with packages, for these games, chappers costing thousands of pounds.
There are also the discussions about the rainbow bucket hats as well, which I'll be honest, when you're in this position in the the commentary position and looking out towards the Welsh fans, it's difficult to tell which bucket hat is which, really.
Yeah, and again, earlier this week, the Welsh FA and FIFA did say that Welsh fans complained about getting into the USA game with rainbow flags and rainbow bucket hats. We were told the message would get through to security on the ground that Welsh fans would be allowed in, and so far I did hover around security before the beginning of the match, didn't see any of it, and there is plenty of them inside the stadium as well. Also during before kickoff, you might have seen that the Welsh team did have rainbow inspired kind of logos down the side of their arms as well. So on that ground, all good so far when it comes to not having items confiscated.
How many games are you doing today? You did 3 the other day, didn't you, with starting with Japan, Germany. How many are you doing today for us?
Yeah, I try not to talk about that. With this being a World Cup, held in an area the size of Newcastle, fans being able to watch multiple games is a unique selling point, chappers, but I wouldn't recommend it. Like you said, I did 3 games in one day. And it wasn't even the football that did me, it was the walking. 31,000 steps, so that's equal to 22 kilometres worth of walking, half a marathon, not including the 10 trains, 2 buses and 1 emergency taxi ride. So, you can be love drunk, you can be food drunk. I was definitely football drunk. If I never saw another football match ever again, it would be too soon.
BBC Sports' Nesta McGregor, thank you very much. Get yourself back in the ground for the second half. Next up today, the second of our 4 games, Qatar against Senegal. Stephen Warnock, part of our commentary team for this one. Senegal win this, did they?
Yeah, you'd think so. You look at Qatar and you just think after the first game how poor they were. Didn't really show any quality at all, and from a Senegal point of view, they need to respond. They need to get a victory to get themselves some points on the board, and I don't see anything different than that.
Well, they do, don't they? And actually, if they match Ecuador's result, I mean, you'd assume that Netherlands will win this group. But if they match Ecuador's results against Qatar or even better it, then it all comes down to that final group game when they play Ecuador.
I'm not so sure about that,
Are you not?
I've got Ecuador in the sweep. So I'm fully backing them.
Good to know that the opportunity to win some money affects your punditry. I like that.
The one thing I will say is Ecuador the other night, yes, it was an easy game for them, but they do pose a danger. They are a tough team to play against. I think anyone watching this World Cup so far we've seen that the teams aren't sitting back. They're playing on the front foot. They're trying to catch teams out, and I think Ecuador have that ability to do that because of their athleticism, the speed in which they attack, and I think it'll be a tough game for Holland.
Qatar haven't had a single shot on target in the opening match against Ecuador, so they are yet to have one in this tournament so far. They're yet to score a goal, obviously, but chappers, when England won the World Cup in 1966, they didn't score in their first game either. It ain't over yet for Qatar.
I was going to say, Connor, have you got Qatar in the sweepstake as well? Is that now affecting your expertise?
I've decided. Yeah, I think I'm becoming a bit of a fan of Qatar just because it went so dreadfully for them. Look, you look at their results. They were improving over recent years. And speaking as an Irishman, they got a draw against Ireland only a year ago, and you feel okay. They are getting better all the time. And I really don't think they gave the showing. I think they froze on the big moment. The enormity of the occasion got to them, and just for the individuals as much as anything, I do hope Qatar give a better showing of themselves today.
Thank you very much, both of you. So Conor McNamara and Stephen Warnock, your commentary team for Game 2. Don't forget Game 4 today, England against the USA. All the build-up to come later with Kelly and then John Murray and Rob Green and Matt Upson, and I think Micah as well might be in the stadium for that game. A little bit later on, the teams are in the tunnel waiting to come out for the second half here at the Ahmad bin Ali Stadium. Some of the Welsh subs still warming up before the teams come back out. Gareth Bale just leading Wales out now, smattering of applause as they come back out. It goes back to the point James Collins we said at the end of the first half. You've got to get the ball in quicker to Kiefer Moore.
Yeah, for sure, chappers. This is a huge 45 minutes for Wales. The World Cup dream is lying on this 45 minutes. There's no doubt about it. And like I say, the quality wasn't there first half. They got the ball in the right areas on a few occasions, and just didn't get the quality into Kiefer Moore. We all cried out for him to play. If he's playing, you've got to play to his strengths and get the ball in the box. I see watching the game, I can see him, sort of saying to his players, certainly to the wing backs who are getting high up the pitch, get the ball in the box, but not just get it in there, get it in with quality so he can go and attack. And like I said previously, it's not about him getting the first head, it's the carnage he could cause the Iranian defenders. So hopefully Robert Page has got that across to the players, because this is a big 45 minutes for Welsh football.
Well, in the first game of the World Cup for Wales, they had a poor 45 minutes against the USA and then turned it round in the second. Will they do the same here? Ian.
Thank you, Mark. Back underway. Neither side to make a change. Wales all in red, playing from right to left as we look, are attacking the end where their supporters are housed, still bathed in the sunshine. But we can't say it's strictly the Welsh end. We can say it's the W end, as I noticed there is an Iranian flag in amongst the Welsh support with Walsall FC emblazoned across it. As this is the Welsh side. Hennessey in goal, Mepham, Rodon and Davis. Roberts and Williams are the wing-backs. Ampadu and Ramsey in the midfield. Bale, Kiefer Moore and Harry Wilson. For Iran, who are all in white, playing from left to right. Hussein Husseini is in goal. Just break off because Mohammed charges forward and sends over a cross, which is a deep ball in from that left-hand side, and that'll be a Wales throw. So Hussein Husseini is in goal. The defence of the right-back Rezaeian, Pouralianji, Majid Husseini and Mohammed. A midfield of Golizadeh, Nurahali, Estoloy and Heisafi, and then a front two of Azmoun and Touremi. Carlos Queiroz, great success when he was assistant to Sir Alex Ferguson with the 2 Premier League titles and the Champions League. In his suit, in this technical area, watching on, because for both of these two nations, these next, 44 minutes now will be crucial as to whether they have a realistic hope of reaching the knockout stages.
They are massively crucial, and it's the unusual things that might make a difference. I mean, looking for it player for player, the Iranian team has looked the better team. However, there is the Bale effect. The problem is Bale has had no effect whatsoever in the game so far. And you have to be open about that and honest about that. Gareth has been unbelievably quiet so far. The amount of times in the past you thought, is he going to turn up? And he turns up. He has to turn up quite soon.
Well, before the 90 minutes against the United States on Monday, he'd had just 29 minutes of football since the 18th of September. But we know what he's capable of. And at the minute, Gareth Bale is just hoping for that one moment.
Yeah, he's holding himself in reserve, keeping himself fit. I mean, if he went to 100 miles an hour, he wouldn't last the game.
Here is Azmoun picking up on a loose ball that was played at quite pace into the penalty area, as Wales now have it back in the hands of Wayne Hennessey, who berates Roberts over on that far side and rolls it out now to this near side, the left, for Ben Davies. Aside from that cross from Roberts for Kiefer Moore, with an outstretched right foot that the keeper Husseini did well to keep out, haven't really created enough.
No, they haven't. And again, it is about what are your strengths. If you know what your strengths are, then play to them.
Ball forward, just away from Ramsey, and picked up by Husseini, all in blue.
That's how we changed them, Ian. That is a change. I've noticed already in this half, Ramsey's made 3 of those darting runs from the midfield area. Maybe it'll be that's just a lot of technical change they've made there, just to push them that little bit further forward, Ramsey anyway.
Hennessey rolls it out again to Davies. He goes back now to Rodon. He's got to be disciplined. He was booked in that first half for a challenge on Touremi. Mepham approaches the halfway line. Bale with a layoff, kept in play by Roberts. Poor ball though from the right-hand side, easily cleared by Husseini. And now Iran up towards Azmoun, Sadat Azmoun, but it's away from him.
He finds himself one-on-one with Rodon again, doesn't he? Yeah, every time he does it. Now, whether it's brilliant movement from him, from Azmoun, or whether it's the fact that back 3 are not covering each other. Somebody goes to mark him, get behind him, give your mate cover. It's just not happening just now for the Welsh, and I can see why there is a concern in that area.
Iran against UEFA opposition in a World Cup have never won in 9 attempts. They've lost 7. They have drawn 2 as Kiefer Moore looks offside. Flag stays down, now it's up. Right corner of the area, so they've drawn 2. It's Portugal in Russia in 2018. I can't think who the other team was that Iran drew with in the World Cup before from a UEFA opposition.
I should know that. I've got that look in your face. And I know exactly who you're talking about. And shut up. That's the correct answer.
For those who don't know, it was Scotland in 1978.
No, we actually wiped that from the history books. It doesn't exist. 78 was skipped. We went from 77 to 79 as a footballing nation.
I think that's why sometimes Pat refers to me as a plastic friend.
Yes.
Here is Moore. Look, and any friends north of the border, I was only teasing.
He was only teasing, and apparently Archie Gemmill scored a good goal that tournament.
There is the myth that some Scots fans never returned from Argentina in '78. Here is Ramsey picking up a loose ball for Wales. They're yet to lose in a group stages of a World Cup. However, they've got some concern now. Ball played forward. Azmoun runs into the penalty area. Azmoun hits the post. Right-footed, strikes the right-hand post. Comes out to Golazade. Golazade shapes to shoot off his left foot. Carrying effort. Hits the other post. Rebound saved by Hennessey. Oh, what a double let-off that is for Wales. The right post was rattled, the left post then was rattled, and Wales are still somehow level at 0-0. Iran so unfortunate on 2 occasions.
Do you know, the run from Azmoun, is that not exactly what we've been talking about the last 10 minutes or so? And then in the first half, you cannot go one-on-one with a player like that. No chance. He will eventually get through. He will eventually get beyond, and he's just unlucky there. It was a great hit inside of the post, didn't quite go in, and then his mate, it was Golazade, wasn't it? Left foot, cutting him from the right-hand side. He's nearly scored as well. They need to do something about that, Wales, because it's happened time and time again. They find themselves 1-on-1. The 3 at the back, they have to work together better, give each other cover. They're not doing it.
It's another let-off for Wales, still drawing 0-0 against Iran. What about the follow-up save as well from Hennessey? Bale with a cross on the right-hand side. More challenges, it's looping, and it drops onto the roof of the net behind for a goal kick, and was still goalless. I think it was from Azmoun for the Hennessey save.
I mean, he's done well. Do you know, it's a simple technical thing. What's happening with Wales, even during normal play, they don't get a defender to wait behind the other defender. They just leave him. So I'm watching the game out of play here. And I think all the time Rodon is left 1-on-1. All the time. Why have 3 centre-backs when only one of them's marking? It seems bizarre.
It's a goal kick for Iran. There's activity down below. Dan James is going to be coming on. It's the only change that Rob Page made coming into this game. The first competitive match that James actually hasn't started since Slovakia in March 2019, which is a run of 34 games. So he's going to be coming on. Who will go off as Ramsey was challenged there, and that will be a free kick to Wales in a central position. Brennan Johnson is another option, and in fact it might be a double change. We might still be seeing Brennan Johnson. I can see 2 heads, but not the... It is Johnson. As now all of a sudden just the top of the heads I could see. But this is a free kick, but it's a long way out. Gareth Bale has scored some spectacular goals in his time, but he's not there. It's Ramsey, Wilson and Ampadu who are the 3. But we're a good 30 yards out from goal, 0-0. Ramsey leaves it, Wilson to take it, left-footed, right down the throat of the goalkeeper.
Well, Shane, that's the one you need to give your centre-forward a chance to go and attack. Far too much air in that one.
Ball played forward, kept in play by Roberts. Nimrolahi inside to Taremi. Taremi strikes the chest of Ramsey, and Hennessey will prevent it from going behind for a corner kick. Yep. So James and Johnson to come on.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the pace, we know about James's pace, and it just isn't working for Wales just now. And I think the hitting the post twice there, and the fact that you're under such pressure, he's thought, I can't wait any longer. If you keep on playing like this, we're eventually going to lose a goal and lose the game. So I understand why he's making the change now.
Diagonal ball searching towards Wilson, who's made the run through from midfield. You're listening to 5 Live and BBC Sounds. The first of 4 more games. Nice little layoff by Azmoun, flicked out by Taremi. Golazade will get there first. Williams has to retreat. He's twisting and turning. Golazade tries to wriggle away from him. Still with the ball at his feet, right corner of the area. There's a real step for Iran coming forward.
They're playing with such incredible confidence just now. You know, sometimes you can hit the post and it can have a negative effect. It's had a positive one.
Golazade with a cross in towards Taremi. Comes out to Hessafi. That was blocked, cleared away. Wales at the minute are on the back foot. Much improved performance from Iran. Cross from the left, blocked. It'll run forward towards the corner flag. And Mohammed will make sure that it goes out for a corner kick. And it is Iran who have taken the game here to Wales, and Rob Page has to make the change.
No, he won't want to make it a corner kick. Not under this sort of pressure, he won't want to do that. He'll call this substitution off just now. But they are under massive pressure. And the players will know that, and they've held on before. Wales know how to do this, but they're against a very, very good attack-minded team who are playing with incredible confidence in the second half now.
Both sides realistically have to win. It's still 0-0. Iran, all in white, left to right, corner, left-hand side. Good header away by Kiefer Moore on defensive duties in that crowded penalty area. Picked up by Esteloy. Esteloy's cross, headed away. Falls towards Wilson, able to turn, caught in an Iranian sandwich, and he rides around, and it'll be a free kick to Wales in a central position, as now the double change will be made. Brennan Johnson and Dan James to come on. Let's get the thoughts of James Collins. James?
Yeah, this substitutions are desperately needed, Dano, to be honest. You know, if I'm Rob Page, I think he's got to go to a 4 at the back. You know, I know we're playing 3 centre-halves, but it can't keep happening in this space that the front 3 for Iran are getting. You know, it seems like there's not a lot of communication going on with the back 3. Nobody really knows who they're picking up, and they're finding far too much space. And like I say, hitting both posts, and a great save from Wayne Hennessey. Really, Wales should be down in this game. So hopefully these substitutions have an impact on Wales, because they certainly need to get in this game.
Well, James, just as you did on Monday night, you've called it spot on once again, because that is exactly what Rob Page has done whilst you were talking. Brennan Johnson has come on for Connor Roberts, and Dan James has replaced Harry Wilson. And here is James with a cross straight away into the penalty area, drops towards Kiefer Moore, edge of the area. It's been touched away by over the head of Brennan Johnson, so they have now gone to a back 4. So Ben Davies is playing as the left back, Mepham and Rodon as the 2 central defenders. Nico Williams has switched to right back. And then we've got Dan James on the left of the midfield, Brennan Johnson on the right, Bale is alongside Kiefer Moore up front, and you've got Ramsey and Ampadu in the centre of midfield.
It's brave, isn't it? But it has to be brave. You've not got an option. You have to go for it, and sometimes it can change a game. It seems really odd. You're under pressure, so you take off a defender. It sounds counterintuitive, but in actual fact, it probably is the right thing just now, because Wales, and let's not forget, Iran are both running out of time just now. Somebody needs to win this game.
Yeah, well, the final set of matches you would probably favour. I know Iran suffered a heavy defeat, but if England were to beat the United States earlier on, you'd have Wales on 2 points, the United States on 1, and Iran on 1. And then the United States and Iran play each other next Tuesday, whereas Wales will be hoping that Gareth Southgate, if England were to beat the States and would have qualified on 6 points, would make them numerous changes. But all of a sudden, it would be out of their hands.
He's had quite a few injuries. I've not even checked yet, but I'm guessing it's Azmoun, because he doesn't do anything at half pace, does he? Everything's 100 miles an hour. He gives every single bit to every single challenge. He's actually been brilliant this afternoon. He's limping off. he won't want to stay off. He'll want to get back on again.
Wales, if they could win here today, would know that they could avoid defeat against England and that they would be through. If they don't win this one today, they're then relying on favours. Azmoun has had lengthy treatment, and he will be looking to return to the fray. We've been playing for nearly an hour. 5 Live and BBC Sounds here in the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium. And it is extremely tense as it remains goalless. So they're now matching up Iran with a 4-4-2. Ball is hit forward. James has made the run. Rezaeian with a clearance, only as far as Ramsey, wouldn't drop for him. Nurulahi with the clearance away for Iran. Wales now with Williams on that far right-hand side to Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson looking to try and make a bit of a difference, the substitute. Helped out by Williams, plays the ball back. Still to the constant backdrop of the horns. Cross comes in from the right-hand side. It was a deep one from Ampadu, and it rolls out of play for a goal kick.
Made a difference, James, hasn't he? He keeps on making those runs on the left-hand side. Flat, we all know about his pace. Certainly hasn't lost any of it today. He's got behind the full-back a couple of times now, and that might push them a little bit further back. And Rezaeian, he's the one who's having to mark him just now, and he was doing well getting forward before. He won't be getting forward now.
You were so right about the amount of Iranian supporters who stayed out of the stadium for the national anthem. Of course, the protests continuing, anti-government protests back in Iran, such as the civil unrest. But now, as you look away towards that right-hand side, there are so many up and out of their seats, all in white, with the flags flying, hoping to see their side get a win to progress in this competition. And because of the horns that are constantly blaring, we've hardly heard the red wall away towards our left-hand side with 28 minutes remaining. Ramsey to Moore. James doesn't get away from Hosseini, who keeps the ball in play, and helped out by Rezaeian, plays it forward. Estoloy with a clearance, back it goes though for Wales. Moore loses out. Estoloy with the back heel, taken on now by Hisafi, running forward. Wales player has taken a tumble, that was Ampadu. Now it's with Taremi, he's got options left and right. Taremi plays the ball forward, and running back was Dan James to concede the corner and just take it out of the path of Golazadeh, who had made that run on the right-hand side.
We've actually got a game now that feels like a knockout cup game. That's exactly how it feels. Wales are going to try and push it the other way. Gareth Bale's the only one staying up. They've got a little bit more pace on now. But as ever, when they break, the Iranian side looks superb. We were very unlucky not to get through there.
Corner kick to Iran, 0-0. It's left-footed. Actually went towards goal there. It was well claimed by Hennessey. Throws it out underarm. Now it's with Ramsey running forward. It has got the feel of a cup tie. Pat Nevin is absolutely spot on. Far side, Brennan Johnson tries to wriggle away from the challenge. Goes on the outside of Mohammed, but Mohammed is back goal side to prevent the cross coming in, and then brings it away for Iran. Helped out by Hisafi. Wales win it back. Ampadu plays it short, diagonal forward. Johnson now coming in off that right touchline, edge of the area. Challenged by Mohammed once again, who wins the ball. Counter-attack now is on forward, get Iran. It's 3 against 3. The white shirts are coming forward. Ball played out towards Taremi. Taremi now enters the penalty area. Menacing. Block comes in. Good block by Ampadu. Behind for a corner kick. Some of the players are flat out on their feet. 0-0.
Yeah, I mean, the energy levels have been brilliant in this game. But it's because it's a long game. You're having to sprint 70 yards, then 70 yards, then 70 yards. There's not a lot of control play in that midfield there. They're just hammering up and down. That absolutely takes its toll on every player, and certainly you can't. The substitutions are going to be important now. You've got to bring on fresh legs as much as you possibly can at the end without endangering your defence.
Well, some of the fresh legs, and Sarifard is going to be coming on, who plays for Omonia in Cyprus, actually scored against Manchester United in the Europa League. earlier in the season. He's going to be coming on soon. He's warming up down below. Corner kick for Iran, far side the left. Wales get it away, edge of the area. Ramsey can run forward. Ramsey now looking for the pace of Dan James. And back there is Nurulahi, and out of play it goes for a throw. Will they make the change now? Pat Nevin.
Well, that's one of the poorest pieces of defending I've seen so far. Every time they're in a difficult position, they play their way out from the back, and for some reason they're a little bit of panic from Nurulahi. Not like them at all. So they're feeling the nerves as well as the Welsh.
We have 25 minutes remaining in this opening game where there is a real sense of jeopardy because a draw does not suit either side, but it is still 0-0. Williams far side the right, playing now as a right back. 5 Live and BBC Sounds here. Here is Ramsey. Sliding challenge comes in from that far side from Hisafi. It's a Wales throw. Williams. Not much movement for him. Still in that area of the field that is bathed in sunshine. Back it goes to Rodon in the centre circle. Now to the left back, Davis. They've switched from a back 3 to a flat back 4 Wales. Davis on the halfway line, forward to Kiefer Moore. Moore holds it up. Tightly marked by Hennessey, who was having a little kick there at him. And has a stern talking to from the Argentinian referee.
They're very, very good with the tackling. They do not let anyone get any space whatsoever, and that is across the entire Iranian team.
Williams with a cross. It's a high one from the right. Headed out by Rezaeian, the right back. Drops back to his feet. Chips it long. Up towards Azmoun. And his header in the direction of the Porto striker, Mediterranean, is seen back by Wales to Hennessey. When you're entering the last 20 minutes of a game, one goal might just be enough for either of these two sides. We have just over 20 minutes remaining. Brennan Johnson, right-hand side of the penalty area, accelerates in towards Bale at the near post. The flick didn't quite come off, and it'll be run out over on that far side by Husseini. Wales, though, will get a throw.
Well, the assistant referee's going... He didn't see a handball, which is 10 yards away from us, clear as day. The Iranian defenders are going mad there, but I keep on looking at Gareth Bale, thinking, Gareth, you've done so little in this game. And you're right, we talked about it waiting for the moment. By the way, how the assistant referee, I'll say, it is into the sun, but that is a terrible mistake by him.
Sada Azmoun, who has been a real thorn in the side of the Wales defence throughout this game, is coming off, the Bayer Leverkusen striker. It is going to be like for like. He's getting a great ovation from the Iranian supporters inside the stadium, as well as replacement Karim Ansarifard. James Collins is a former defender. I would imagine you'd think that Rodon and Mepham would be glad to see the back of him.
I'm glad to see the back of him, to be honest. I think that, you know, it's big for Wales. Azmoun going off, he's been sensational. I think all the good stuff has come through him, so seeing him going off is a bonus for Wales. But certainly, you know, this going into this sort of stage of the game, we need Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey. They've both been poor in the game. This is where we need the big players to come into the game and show us that bit of magic that they have for so long.
Certainly is. Here is James running forward, stays on his feet with the cross. That was blocked. And just to illustrate the point that James Collins has just mentioned, 10 of the last 14 goals at the last 3 major tournaments have either seen Bale or Ramsey involved. That's how key they have been when Wales in the past have had their big moments at the Euros, of course, which James Collins was part of, Euro 2016, when they reached the last 4, and with Gareth Bale with that crucial penalty as an equaliser. But now Wales will hope that one of those two can step up here as we're midway through the second half, because otherwise the United States will be thinking to themselves, let's avoid defeat against England. That will be their objective as a minimum for that game that you'll hear on BBC Radio 5 Live and also on BBC Sounds at 7 o'clock tonight. England, the United States. John Murray and Rob Green will bring you that commentary. Kelly Cates presenting in the stadium. Here is Tarimi for Iran, looking for the run of Ansarifard ahead of him, but it's picked up by Hennessey.
It's so unusual to see that. There are so few teams that are playing double strikers. and they're working together. You know, I've often seen two centre-forwards up, but they never pass to each other, they never move for each other. Those two are really, really good together, and it's a throwback to a lot of double striking partnerships you've seen years ago.
Back in 58, Wales drew every match in their 3 initial group stage games. The draw's not enough here today. Shot from distance. Nurulahi, cross comes in, headed away. You believe we've got a steward in front of us who's actually taking a selfie and obstructing our view when that cross came in.
See if you're in the row in front of us. That's what's happened to Vicky Sparks all the time in the previous ones. They just stand right in front of you, right in front of the goal. And there's a steward. They're human too. Come on.
You think he'd be having his eyes on the game. It's been such a captivating contest between these two. Still at 0-0, and we're inside the last 20 minutes. Iran have got their 4th corner of the game. It's the far side, the left. It's an outswinger. It's delivered too deep. Comes out to Golazadeh, who's impressed on the right-hand side. The overlap not required. In it goes to Esteloy. He floats over the cross. Downward header picked up by Hennessey at the near post. Taremi was looking to pounce, couldn't get there. Hennessey throws it out underarm towards Ramsey. Every red shirt was back. They don't look a cohesive unit in the minute, Wales.
No, they don't, but they managed to manipulate a situation there where James had a defender 1-on-1, but it was a poor ball. He's far too far over the top of him there. And if he'd have it, you know what it's like with James, if he's got a chance to run 1-on-1 with anyone, no one's going to keep with him. So that was an opportunity. It didn't look like one, but it was one.
Ball played by Moore. It runs away. Picked up by Rezaeian, the right back, running to the edge of the area. Staying out wide is Golazadeh. Here he is now on the right. It's a left-footed ball. Cleared and touched behind by Rodon. For a corner kick to Iran. 18 minutes remain 0-0.
We've had too much space there for Golazadeh, wasn't there? It was easy to get him the ball in the box, getting towards the boundary line.
Corner's been taken quick. They've done an Agdala under Arnold. In it comes now, edge of the area, down into the ground. That was Pureli Anji who had the effort. Cleared by the Welsh defence. Brennan Johnson's got to go it alone. One solitary red shirt against 3 white shirts, and picked up over on that far side and running forward now was Nurulahi. Cleared up towards Moore. Iran look the sharper of the two teams.
They do. I mean, Wales had to make a change in the system change. You understand why they're doing it, but they are hanging on. But they have got more players up front. They may well get one chance, and they may only need one chance. And they've got players in the team that can take that chance when it arrives.
Esteloy for Iran. Plays it wide to the right, edge of the area. Taremi back to Esteloy. Shoots low! Just wide. Did Hennessey get a touch? Yes, he did. Vital save from Hennessey. His heroics defied Ukraine in the playoff back in Cardiff in June. They've taken the corner quick. Wales have been caught napping. Cross comes in from the left-hand side. Turned behind by Ampadu. Wales are hanging on.
They are hanging on, and they are tired, and they're talking to each other, they're trying to pull each other together. This is the time to get as tight as you possibly can. As a back four, as it is, they're being stretched, and the gaps have been taken serious advantage of by the Iranian strikers.
From a neutral, you'd have to say Iran should be ahead. They deserve to be ahead. They've hit the post twice in the second half and went close again. Corner kick with the referee's blown his whistle. And the former Brighton player, Jahan Bash, is going to be coming on.
Yeah, and to think you're going to add a little bit more liveliness to this Iranian side just now, that's another fear. But 15 minutes ago, it's maybe holding it for 5 or 10 minutes. Are there any changes that Rob Page can make now that will make a difference? That's a really serious question, because there's a lot of tired-looking players in red out there.
They wait to take the corner. Golazadeh's going to take it on this near side, the right. It's left-footed. Again, Hennessey under pressure. Actually more from his own players than anybody else. Goes back in. Hennessey struggling to get there, but they get the ball away. Golazadeh on this near side. Left-footed. Sends in another cross. Good header out by Kiefer Moore inside that penalty area. It keeps coming back. That's an up and under on this occasion. Out it goes towards the right. Bouncing ball. Difficult to control. Golazadeh plays it back. Rezaeian, the right back, plays it forward. Can't get it out towards Golazadeh. Shot from distance on this occasion from Nurulahi. And it'll be Nico Williams to try and offer a little bit of respite for Wales. but Iran are just picking up the loose balls, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, but the men some poorer decisions at the moment. I feel Iran are the better side, there's no doubt about that. But they're over-trying in situations and we're doing the right thing constantly before then. On this occasion, you know, a couple of teams are shoving shots from 35 yards. Not the right thing to do. And I'm sure Hennessey's delighted when they try things like that.
So we're going to be seeing, as well as Jahanbash, formerly of Brighton, Tarabi, who's going to be coming on, who can play out wide. I think the Wales will be glad to see the back of Golazadeh if he was to come off. Meanwhile, Ramsey will win a throw for Wales. Certainly, somebody's just indicated there that they're not in a position to... It's Nurulahi who's gone down, and he's indicated with that motion of the hands rolling over each other that he's going to have to be replaced. Yeah. Meanwhile, Wales are trying to get some instructions across to Ampadu and maybe Carlos Queiroz. If Nurulahi is unable to continue, looks like he might have tweaked a thigh muscle.
Possibly a thigh strain. That muscle.
So Tarabi is going to be coming on, and he is going to be replacing. Well, they're desperate to say. They at the bench haven't realised that Nurulahi can't continue. So at the minute it went up the number 3, which would be Hesafi, the captain, but now they're having to change that. Meanwhile,
I think Gareth Bale coming off. The possibility of that. Would Joe Allen come on, maybe?
Golazadeh is coming off to be replaced by Jahanbash. 61 appearances and 4 goals during his 3 seasons at the Amex. Whilst the changes are happening, Joe Allen is going to be coming on. James Collins, just for those who don't know, how crucial is the introduction of Joe Allen?
Yeah, he's massive, Deno. I'm not sure it's the... You know, he's not gonna attack too much, Joe. He's going to sit in front. Wales have been under the cosh, so they have got to be careful. Obviously, they've got to go for the win. So Joe will sit in front of the back 4 and sort of control it and break play up when he needs to. But you need to get attacking players on the pitch. We need to go and win this game now. All free kicks, all sort of throw-ins, crosses. They need to go into the box and try and hit Big Kiefer Moore and work around him.
Well, Joe Allen, who hasn't played since the 17th of September with a hamstring injury, has come on. The 32-year-old.
He's come on for Ampadu. I thought the numbers were suggesting it was going to be Gareth Bale. It's not Gareth Bale, which would be a mad thing to do when you need a goal.
And Nurulahi wasn't able to continue as well, so he has come off, and Cheshmi has come on to replace him. So they've made a triple change, have Iran. It is still 0-0. It's only the second match in Group B for these two sides. It's the first of the second wave of games, but it feels like a knockout match because both sides know the importance of the 3 points at 0-0, and we have 12 minutes remaining. Ramsey for Wales tried to lay it off into the path of Nico Williams, and that will be a free kick for Iran.
I mean, the big upside you've got just now is 2 of the best players for Iran are off the pitch now.
Yes.
I mean, they played really, really well. They looked dangerous. Both of them had hit the post. You know, and it was a fantastic piece of play earlier on by Azmoun, and he hit the post, and of course the other one that hit the post was a winger, and he's gone Golazadeh as well.
Good hold-up play by Moore on the halfway line. Releases James away on the left-hand side. James checked, and no foul as the challenge had come in from Majid Hosseini. James has stayed down, and the referee has indicated that it will be a throw to Iran.
Yeah, but he's just made 2 terrible mistakes, and happily he's changed his mind now because he was pointing out for a throw for Iran there. There is no chance that was a throw for Iran.
Davis is going to take it. They hung onto the ball as long as they could, but it will be a Wales throw. 11 minutes remain, still locks at 0-0. Where will the breakthrough goal, if at all, where will it come? Away towards our left where the red wall watch anxiously. Still half of them bathed in the sunshine. Or will it be the abundance of white shirts and the horn blaring Iranians?
It's just such an unusual thing to see in the end of a group game. both managers wanting to get ball to get on quickly, desperate to get the game restarted again. And if it gets to 90 minutes, they'll want 8 or 9 minutes extra time as well.
And knowing this World Cup, you might well get that. You might even get double figures as the ball is played out by Hennessey, all in green away towards our right. Davies plays it a long way back. Rodon now is about 6 yards inside, up from the byline, has to play it back deep into the penalty area for Hennessey, who chips it forward just over the head of Ansarifard, but it will go out of play, and it's an Iran throw. They want to take it quickly. Rezaeian, the right back, headed away by Rodon, and now up towards James. Little touch by Bale. He's a passenger, Gareth Bale, at the moment.
Well, has been most of the game.
Now it's with Taremi. Taremi tries to fire it forward. It was a pacey ball that was blocked by Mepham and cleared eventually by Nico Williams. A tired Gareth Bale towards James, but we all know what Bale is capable of as he now lifts it over the head of Estoloy. Out it goes towards Williams. They need their talisman more than ever now, do Wales. But the move breaks down, and Estoloy, he's now struggling, puts it out of play for a throw. His hands up, he wants to come off.
Yeah, it's very, very odd him doing that. He's had a great game in that centre midfield area, and he usually passes it out from the back, but on that occasion, clearly, he's got cramp in one of his on his right calf there, and you know, it's no surprise. I mean, it's such a brilliant pace to this game, and it's gone up and down and up and down, and if you're a midfielder, you're going to feel this absolutely at the end of the game, and for a day or two to come afterwards.
They can make one substitution because they've made that triple change. Remember, you're only allowed to bring on the 5 subs at 3 separate intervals. So at the moment, whilst he's getting the treatment, Estoloy, and doesn't look like he's able to continue, word reaches me, James Collins, that you're getting a little bit animated back there.
Just a little bit, Dano, just a little bit. Just frustration more than anything. Fair play, Iran have had a good spell, but when Wales do get the ball and get a chance to get it down, just the quality, you know, they're trying to play little 1-2s around the box. Brennan Johnson a few moments ago, it's an ideal to get it into the box. I know it might sound a little bit desperate measures, but that's where we're at, you know. We need to get the ball into the box, we need to create a chance to go and win this game, and it just more frustration than anything building.
Well, at the moment, the Welsh support, if they are frustrated, they're turning it into support with a rendition of Yema Ohid, that Welsh folk song, as Estoloy wasn't able to continue, and so Karimi comes on to replace him, and that is the final change for Iran. Ali Karimi plays his football for Turkey, Kayserispor, his 15th appearance for the 28-year-old in the centre of midfield. Wales have 7 minutes of normal time remaining. 0-0 on 5 Live. Bale leaps in the air. It will drop to James, left-hand side, down by the byline. James delivers the cross. Ramsey hits it. Falls to Brennan Johnson, right-hand side. Back to Nico Williams, low shot. Moore, he's teed up, Ben Davies! The keeper got a touch. He's turned the ball over the top. It was a left-footed rising drive. It was goal-bound. But Hussein Husseini with a fabulous save to keep Wales out.
He did everything right there. He's got power, he's got pace, he's got it on target. But the keeper maybe just slightly too straight towards him. But a really good moment there for Wales. They believe they can do it.
Corner kick from the right-hand side. It's an outswinger. And it arcs its way out of the penalty area. Collected by Brennan Johnson. 6.5 minutes of normal time remain. Williams with the throw. Headed out. Now the ball is played up towards Taremi. Hennessey has come out of his goal line, off his penalty area. He's clattered in towards Taremi. And Iran are desperate for Hennessey, for him to take action. I wouldn't necessarily say it was Schumacher in 82 against Battiston, but he did catch Taremi. He was out of his penalty area, and the referee has brought out a yellow card.
A yellow card. How incredibly lucky if that is only a yellow card. Because he's wiped him out completely. He's not got the ball. He's through on goal, surely. They must look at that again in VAR. And I think Hennessey's acutely aware of that they will do that. They will look at it again. And it was a simple ball there. It was just played over the top. It was onside. It was tight, but it was onside. He's flicked it in front of Hennessey. Oh, I can't believe that's only yellow. Oh, and he has got to touch it. It's dangerous play. You actually do that to any other part of a football field, 100% red yellow card, yes?
Yes.
100%.
The referee, hold on, has been instructed by Drew Fisher, the Canadian referee in charge of VAR, to go to the screen. And worryingly, we know what this can mean. There hasn't as yet in this World Cup been a sending off. But they are now having a review for a possible red card because Hennessey clattering into Taremi. And Wales' problems could be set to be compounded here in a game they have to win. He's caught him in the head with his knee.
Yeah, if you go for that there and you come out with your studs up like that and you caught him with a knee in the head, you've got to win the ball. And even winning the ball, it's still a dangerous act. So if he gets away with this, he's been unbelievably lucky.
The referee has looked at the monitor. He's coming now out onto the pitch. He's reaching for his back pocket. And the first red card at the Qatar World Cup is going to be shown to the Wales goalkeeper, Wayne Hennessey. He's rescinded the yellow. He's shown a red. Hennessey is dismissed. And Wales are down to 10 men for the last 4 minutes of normal time. James Collins.
Yeah, it's definitely a red card, guys. I knew it straight away. As soon as the refs got, his yellow out, you could see it's the wrong decision, and it's an absolute disaster for Wales. And it just sums up, what the amount of time Iran have got in with that ball. It just seemed, Wales give the ball away, one straight ball through the middle, and they seem to be one-on-one with Wayne Hennessey. He's made a decision to come out, and it's an awful decision, and it's an awful challenge, and you've got to say it is a red card, and it doesn't look good for Wales from here on in.
Wales' most capped goalkeeper Wayne Hennessey, his World Cup over. Danny Ward comes on. Aaron Ramsey is the player who is sacrificed, and Danny Ward, who's actually played regular football in the Premier League, unlike Hennessey, has got to come on for the last 3 minutes of normal time, but you can bet there's going to be at least 10, 12, maybe even longer in terms of additional time.
There's been a load of injuries, and we've had this stoppage here. I would be surprised if it was less than 10, really.
I would too. Wales, meanwhile, have now got to defend this free kick, and Ward, the substitute goalkeeper, on a dramatic afternoon. In it goes now, headed out by Joe Allen. Played back out towards that far side. Plenty of white shirts to aim for, but it was a low ball in, and it was cleared away by Gareth Bale. And now Wales, damage limitation. They've got to protect the point, but it might not be good enough in the circumstances. Iran, with the extra man, are going to go in search of a late winner here. Taremi pulls it back. Ansarifan takes a deflection, might come back out to Ansarifan. Pulls back the shot, and it's just wide. It was very, very close from Tarabi on the edge of the area, right-footed, rifled wide. They've had enough chances to win it, Iran. It's still 0-0.
Yeah, but he scored the goal, and they're fighting so hard at the back there, Wales. But you get the feeling from here on into the end, there are going to be chances. They are going to have to work even harder than they've done so far. But it's interesting, Wales, they're trying to leave two players up, because I suppose you still actually have to win it. You almost have to win it. So for Wales, yeah, they probably take the point now, but they're still trying to sneak a win.
Ward with the clearance downfield. Up it goes in the air from Joe Allen. The red wall are trying to do their bit. Land of my fathers reverberates away towards our left-hand side, trying to suck the ball goalwards, as here is Brennan Johnson. Clearance, though, by the Iranian defence, and Rodon is forced to go back. And it's going to be all eyes on the fourth official down below as to how much added on time there will be against some tired legs of Wales. We saw how much they were fatigued after the energy levels that they put in against the United States in this stadium on Monday. Joe Allen forward. Karimi's forward ball to Rodon on the halfway line. Davis tries to roll away, but Wales haven't really threatened enough during this game as the ball goes out towards Johnson. And a point might not be good enough, Pat Nevin.
It may not be good enough, but all you do is you keep on fighting. You just keep on hoping that you get some sort of chance. If Wales can get a free kick or a corner kick, it's just one opportunity that far up the field, they can give their chance to go and attack it. I think you won't be happy, but you'll be mildly relieved if you're Wales, because
9 minutes, a minimum of 9 minutes added on time. We were expecting a little bit more than that. Iran are on the attack. Rezaeian's forward ball. Up it goes now towards Tarabi. He pulls the ball back. Terrific interception, sliding forward from Joe Allen. Taremi was waiting there. Iran give away a free kick on the halfway line. Challenge on Kiefer Moore by Rezaeian, the right back.
Every time Iran attack, your heart is in your mouth, because they've played it brilliantly up until the very final ball. And I don't mean the final pass, I mean the final strike on goal. They've never quite got it there. Every time they play it forward, they are a good technical side, but they've not put this game to bed yet. And because of that, there's still hope for Wales.
Davis to take the free kick just over the halfway line. It's got to go long to the 10 men of Wales. Left-footed, headed on by Johnson, right corner of the area. He finds Moore. The touch was a heavy one. As he tried to turn and move towards his left, it went away off his right foot.
Yeah, I don't know if you want it to fall to him there, with his back to goal. Maybe Gareth would be better to get that sort of ball in there. It wasn't exactly a chance, but he should have done better with it.
Iran are on the attack now on the right-hand side. Rodon, who's been on a yellow card, comes across, ushers the ball out of play for a throw. And in fact, he's given a free kick to Wales.
I'm surprised at that. I think Wales can be slightly relieved at that. And they're trying to slow it down. Obviously, Iran wanted to carry on there, but Wales have decided, no, there's no point in going this hunt. You're constantly running at top speed. Don't do that. You've got 10 men, you will exhaust yourself. So, given a chance for Ward to put the ball long. A little bit of a nod on. Gareth in the end of it. What do you think?
You said it earlier on about Gareth Bale. He's hardly been in the game, but it wouldn't surprise you. He has produced some incredible moments in his illustrious career, but it would be the ultimate fairy tale for Wales if he was to pop up in the next 7 minutes with something here at 0-0. Joe Allen plays it back. Rodon hits it forward. James goes to ground. Free kick. 10 yards inside the Iran half, just in from the left touchline.
It's a lot about desperation for Karimi there. He's desperate to get the ball. He wants to get another chance at a break. But that's exactly what Wales want. It's a chance to lump it in there, go and attack it at the back post. At the moment, Kiefer Moore stopped winning the free kicks. This is the time to go and win ahead and knock it down for his teammates to attack.
Wales fans, do you believe? Davis goes long. It's a searching ball, but the keeper comes a long way off his goal line. Husseinian now throws it out from the edge of the area, and the counter-attack is on with Iran. The ball is played out wide towards Mohammed, but sliding back was Nico Williams, now as a right-back. Out of play it goes for a throw. Under 6 minutes of stoppage time remain, still locked at 0-0. The substitutes down below, all in their bibs for Iran. Away towards our right-hand side, can't sit still. They're standing up, such is the tension. But it goes out of play, and it will be a goal kick that Ward is in no hurry to take.
The one positive I can say to Wales fans, I know you're on the edge of your seats, and it's fearful sitting listening to this. However, the technical ability that they've lost with the substitutions is having an effect on Iran. They don't look quite as dangerous in the final third. And I don't want to put the mockers on it, but it's probably looking a little bit better than you think it does when you're down to 10 men.
Rezaeian, the right back, has just been booked by the referee. I think he was telling Mario Escobar to show a yellow card to the substitute keeper, Danny Ward. So he has been shown yellow. as the ball is nodded on. That was a brave header by Mepham. He got a blow in the face as well off a stray boot from Jahanbakhsh. And that will mean that there might potentially be more added on time to the 9. In fact, Jahanbakhsh has shown a yellow card, and that means that the former Brighton player will miss the final group game against the United States next Tuesday. It's his second yellow card. Let's go back to James Collins.
Times here, Deno, isn't it? I've said it a few times now, just the quality. We've had a few deep free kicks. You know, we've hit Dan James on one of them from the halfway line, who's the smallest lad on the pitch. You know, why are we not hitting it into the middle of the box? Why is, you know, Danny Ward, he will this time, but then Ben Davies had a free kick straight into the goalkeeper's arms. I've moaned on about it all morning, but the quality really, from certainly in this latter stages, has been terrible.
Yeah, haven't really looked like scoring. You couldn't say that in the second half against the United States, but hold on, James and Moore have done well. Moore with a cutback. James helps win it back in the penalty area. Loose ball. Williams, he scuffed it, but it falls to Brennan Johnson. Down into the ground it goes. Never really got a purchase on it on his right foot. Saved by the goalkeeper, Hennessey. He releases the ball, and Iran have to go forward now.
The problem for Wales is that when they do get forward, they leave huge gaps.
Taremi running forward. Plays it out towards Rezaeian, the right back. His shot is blocked. And the ball will cannon away towards the halfway line.
If you're Welsh, you've got to be so happy that the two best players, Asman and Golazadi, are not on this field just now, because I think Wales would have lost this game had they still been on the field.
Joe Allen goes in for an excellent 50-50 challenge, which he wins. As a result, Wales try and make their way through the middle, but Moore can't get there. And this is Jahanbakhsh. Jahanbakhsh to the edge of the area. Excellent block challenge coming in from Rodon. They're dead out on their feet there, some of the Wales players. Rodon can hardly move. He's dropped down to his feet. Such was the ferocity of that 50-50 challenge. Gareth Bale, 2.5 minutes remain of normal time. So many of that Iranian bench are almost encroaching onto the pitch in their desperation to try and get decisions in their favour.
Well, the decision is on their favour. Gareth Bale there just mucking about in the left-back position. He gives away the ball. It is a throw into Iran. The Welsh players don't understand that, but the referee and the assistant, they've got that right this time, and it's in a dangerous area.
They're actually saying that the ball is flat. I think that was that challenge from Rodon and Jahanbakhsh on the edge of the area. So, Rezaeian to take the throw. 2 minutes of added on time remain. Cross from the right-hand side, cleared by Allen inside the penalty area. You're listening to 5 Live. For any of the drama that has seen this first red card at the World Cup, you can always rewind through the BBC Sounds app if you haven't yet got it. But Wales are hanging on. The ball forward. But if anything, they're cancelling each other out. Certainly it's not good for a game that both realistically had to win. Taremi, out it goes towards the far left-hand side. Back into the feet of Taremi for Ansarifan. Cleared by Wales. Johnson tries to get there. Stepping forward now was for Ali Anji. Shot from distance was a rather tired one from Jahanbakhsh. Out to Ansarifan, who attacks left-hand side, does a little step over, and the cutback swept away from Joe Allen. Comes out towards Karimi! Karimi with a low right-footed shot, finds the bottom right-hand corner. Cheshmi from distance.
It's absolutely extraordinary. I don't know, last time I've seen so many people on the field. It's every single substitute, most of the coaching staff. Every Welsh player just about is lying on their back or on the front. They have given everything. And just now, right at the end, they've lost to a brilliant, brilliant hit. Finally, the Iranians have got a ball on target, pinged into the bottom corner. And it looks like there's no way back whatsoever for Wales now.
Rouzbeh Cheshmi from distance, right-footed. It's a knockout blow for Wales and a blow for them reaching the knockout stages. He hit it from distance. There was nothing that Ward, the substitute goalkeeper, could do. He was at full stretch. Iran lead Wales by a 0-0.
Well, we talked about the substitutes coming on, and much liveliness you're going to have to add to it. Cheshmi he's been okay since he came on, but he had the energy to get the power behind the shot, and he got it with real power, Keeper was slightly, he couldn't see it. It came through bodies as well. It's painful to say. It was a great goal. It's painful to say. It was deserved as well. But what efforts most of that Wales team, particularly, it has to be said, the defenders have put in, and your heart bleeds for them.
Roosevelt Cheshmi, the substitute. The 9 minutes of added on time are actually over. We're now at the discretion of the referee. But Iran, who have been so unfortunate in this second half, have got the goal that they deserve. Brennan Johnson at the edge of the area, cleared by Mohammed, and the Iranian supporters, all in white, dotted around the stadium, are preparing to celebrate, because the 10 men of Wales have fallen behind right at the end of the contest for what has been a dramatic second half. There isn't much time now for Wales to respond. Forward it goes, headed back by Williams, but Wales frankly haven't done enough, and now it's with Taremi, who'll bring the ball away. Jahanbash is going through the middle. Taremi plays it now to Rezaeian. Rezaeian chips it forward. That's the second goal. Ramin Rezaeian, the right back, has clinched it for Iran. 2 goals late on in stoppage time. And Wales' first World Cup appearance in 64 years is likely to end in the group stages. Their first defeat in the group stages of a World Cup. But the 10 men of Wales are now losing by 2 goals to 0. And Iran will move temporarily top of Group B.
Well, the first thing you have to say, the passion in this stadium just now is absolutely incredible. The break there, Wales had to throw everyone forward, so you're going to leave yourself open to that. But they were tired, and we're talking about the technical abilities of this Iranian team. They just play the right ball at the right time, and the little dink finish there is a thing of absolute beauty there. You know, if your right fullback's coming up there, all the way back there, and he's the calmest man in this stadium there, when he clips it over the goalkeeper, 2-0, it is harsh, but the correct team in terms of quality and in chances is winning this game.
So Iran now lead by 2 goals to 0. They've never beaten a European opponent at the World Cup in 9 previous attempts. They've conceded 20 goals, 6 of course were against England. But they have now beaten European opposition for the first time in a World Cup. And the Iranian players, who've had to deal with so much from an emotional point of view, as well as a physical point of view, with all of the civil unrest and the protests and the pressures that they've had to deal with, have put in a real performance to get a deserved win. And it's Wales' World Cup hopes now that lie in tatters. And the Iranian players can't believe it. They're overcome by emotion. They have beaten Wales by 2 goals to 0 in an extremely dramatic second half.
Yeah, and a brilliant game of football. And it won't be much consolation to any Welsh people listening to this, but the team worked so hard, maybe not up front as much, and we will get on to the question of Gareth Bale, who was so quiet. If you're going to win things in your Wales, Gareth has to turn up, and Gareth absolutely didn't turn up today. No impact in the game whatsoever. Don't think he beat a player in the entire game. But you look at the opposition players, the effort they had, but the technical ability. I can't remember seeing a team that looks so different from one game to the next. I would be very interested to see if England played against this Iranian team the way they're playing now, as opposed to in the first game. This is a team to be reckoned with, absolutely.
Well, they have certainly justified their ranking in the top 20. They were dismissed by Robbie Savage ahead of 606 last week. There's some humble pie there for Robbie Savage, certainly. And Mark, the Iranians are just overcome with emotion. They've won 2-0.
I'll bring James Collins in just a moment. But Pat, that's the point, actually. That the football they played, what was lovely to watch in both halves. And you made the point, there are a couple of times in the second half where they cleared it And it really stuck out like a sore thumb, because they tried to play their way out from in their own area, on their own goal line, wherever they were, and 9 times out of 10 they did manage to get themselves out.
No, they're a brilliant technical team. Now, to be honest, I've got a wee bit of insight. My mate Manny Cheshmi, a friend of the BBC, obviously knows all about Iranian football, and he was in a state of shock in the 6-2 because he knew the technical ability of the team, as do all the Iranian fans. This is different from even Tunisia, maybe Morocco. You know, a lot of the teams that are North African and the Middle Eastern teams. This is no fluke. This is a very, very good technical team. They're right to be in the top 20. They're absolutely correct in there, because it's not just the first 11 as well. They are players that you would love watching, and they are a style of team that are a joy to see.
This is some atmosphere, Ian, in this stadium at the moment. The Welsh fans have all stayed to a man, woman and child and are applauding those Welsh players and backroom staff as they have gone over, absolutely exhausted, to applaud their fans. And it's really important that I say this as well. Every Iranian man, woman and child in this stadium is applauding that Iranian national team as well, who are celebrating big time in amongst their exhaustion.
Jam, I think that might be the most important thing that's happened this entire afternoon. You know, because we know what's going on beforehand. We hear about the boos, we hear about the things that have been pointed at those Iranian players. There was nothing they could do beforehand. Even the most radical person out there surely looks at how they played, looks at the effort they gave for their country, what they believed their country should be. They must say, wow, absolutely wow. They should be proud of themselves, every single one of those players, and the fans are showing it, aren't they?
And also, as a reminder, what Carlos Queiroz said the other day after the defeat against England, you don't even imagine behind the scenes what these kids have been living in the past few days, just because they want to express themselves. And maybe they weren't able to express themselves when they did sing the national anthem today, that they didn't sing against England. They've come under a lot of pressure back home, but what they have done here has been absolutely fantastic. They've given themselves a realistic chance now of reaching the knockout stages of this World Cup with their first win in World Cup history against European opposition. And make no mistake, it was a deserved win.
And they continue to take the applause. The Welsh team have now left. I can see Gareth Bale doing a post-match interview. I would imagine that is with us, and if it is, we will bring that to you very shortly here on 5 Live. The Iranian team continue doing a lap of honour, really, and they're just about to approach the Welsh fans who are still here, and the majority of Welsh fans are still here. And that, Pat, is lovely to see. The Welsh fans who have stayed are on their feet, and they are applauding the Iranian players. And I would also say as well, within the Welsh section, there have been Iran fans as well, with Iran flags, and there has been not even a suggestion that there would be any trouble. And both Welsh and Iranian fans standing on their feet, applauding the Iran players as they conclude their lap of honour.
It's very, very emotional, isn't it?
It is.
There is so much happening down there. There's Welsh fans saying, we know what you've been through. And also, by the way, we respect you as a team. And also, in the simplest terms, you've come here. It's a long way to go to see the World Cup. It's a lot of trouble for a lot of people. You've just seen a game you will probably never forget for the rest of your life. This is a very, very special, I was going to say afternoon, morning of World Cup football. And the Welsh fans know that, and they understand it, and they did see a really good team today, and it's in so many levels, it's emotional.
Five or six of the Iran players are sort of bowing to the Welsh fans who are applauding them back. Danny Gabidon is with us, having done TV commentary. I will bring James in a minute back in the studio, but in the stadium at the moment, and I know you're going to be absolutely gutted from a Welsh perspective, but it does feel quite emotional in this stadium at the moment for a whole variety of reasons.
It does. I have to give a lot of credit to Iran, Carlos Queiroz. Iran going into this tournament, a lot of people talking about them not being allowed to play at the World Cup. Obviously, the political unrest in the country. Carlos Queiroz under pressure to pick certain players in his squad. The human rights issues. Obviously, England as well. 6-2 in the first game. They really are on the back foot. So to come into this game and show the performance that they did, the resolve, the team spirit, the energy that they played with, the chances they kind of created. The second half performance I thought was outstanding and thoroughly deserved to win the game. It was a difficult one for Wales. Not too much between the teams in the first half, but second half I thought they took over and thoroughly deserved to get the win, and that puts them right back in the group chapters. It really does.
Certainly does. That final group game against the USA. Wow.
I was actually going to say that, Chappers. I was going to say that to you. If you had a choice between going to see Wales versus England or that one, I know where I'm going to tell you.
Absolutely. It would be USA Iran for me. I may get absolutely slammed for that, but that feels like what a game that feels like all of a sudden. Let's get some reaction from the Welsh camp, and we can hear from Gareth Bale.
Can be a very cruel sport at times.
Yeah, I know.
Gareth, football can be a very cruel sport at times.
Yeah, I know. It's gutting. Yeah, we're gutted. There's no other way to say it. We fought until the last second, but yeah, it's one of those things. It's difficult to take, but we have to recover and we have to try and go again.
You've just had a little huddle on the pitch. What was said?
No, just a little something. Just keep going. We've got to recover. We're all gutted. We have to pick ourselves up straight away. It's going to be difficult, but we have one game left. We have to try and look at every positive and still trying to enjoy the occasion as well.
Realistically, does it feel like that's it for Wales now in this World Cup?
It's going to be difficult for sure. Depends on the other game, and we'll see.
And as for that red card, no arguments from Wales?
I haven't seen it, so I don't really know, but yeah, obviously the red card changes the game completely. Yeah, obviously we let the first one in, and yeah, the second one doesn't matter, so what can I say? We recover and we have to go again.
Gareth, appreciate your time.
James Collins listening to that, his emotion is understandable.
Yeah, you can hear it in his voice, Chappers. The dejection, the like you said, he described it himself, gutted. That might be in his own performance, to be honest, Chappers. He probably knows deep down he hasn't performed to the levels that we used to. I've got to say, we can't keep relying on Gareth Bale to dig us out of a hole, to score a worldie goal or do something magic, because it's not just him on that pitch. But yeah, the whole team, you could tell, is disappointed. But you've got to say, Iran fully deserved the win. The second half performance, the chances they created, hitting the post twice and a good save from Wayne Hennessey, totally deserve it. So yeah, a tough day for Wales. Looking all over the pitch, no real performance for Wales stood out. So yeah, it's a tough afternoon, and obviously going to be tough for them to qualify now.
We talked pre-match, didn't we, James, about the presence of Bale being important, his presence on the pitch being important for if there was that free kick or if there is that penalty. But the flip of that is you also see, if he's having a game like he had today, when do you go, do you know what, we need to change it, and you might be the player we have to change, but that's difficult. That's ridiculously difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, and we're talking about what he does in those magic moments. You'd be even if he's not playing well, you'd be a brave man to take Gareth Bale off because of what he can do. I'm sure if you asked him a question there after the game about his performance today, he'd tell you an honest answer. It wasn't his level. It wasn't good enough for what we expect from Gareth Bale. But then you could say the same about Aaron Ramsey. He didn't.
Yes.
Neither of them sort of did what they can do. Very little touches of the ball. But again, credit to Iran for playing the way they did. But certainly, if we were going to progress and go further in this tournament, certainly, I know we talk about them all the time, and it might be a bit harsh on the two lads, expecting so much from them. But we do expect more from the pair of them. And unfortunately, today they weren't at the levels that we're used to.
Danny?
I think James sums it up very well there. You know, you're looking to Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey to, you know, almost take this game by the scruff of the neck a little bit, particularly when the game kind of started opening up and stuff as well. And you're thinking, can we just get these two involved a bit more? But very much like the first game, just on the periphery, and just two players that almost didn't really look kind of up to speed, and they were not probably where they wanted to be kind of going into this tournament. All the energy, all the kind of vibrancy, all the aggression was coming from Iran, and you're looking at the game kind of opening up. Robert Page tries to make a couple of subs that don't really affect the game too much. We changed the shape. You're thinking, okay, it's going to go a bit more end-to-end. This might help us a little bit, but it didn't really. We never really got anything going, and that ball kind of over the top was kind of on all game. You know, I just think in that midfield area, part of the game plan for Iran was the, you know, time and space in that midfield area, looking to get the ball into Azmoun, making those runs in behind, and we saw it a lot in the first half where Wales got away with it on a few occasions, but you know, they were made to pay in the end. Yes, maybe chasing it a little bit open, trying to get a goal, and obviously Wayne Hennessey gets sent off, and then it's always going to be difficult for Wales to get anything from the game. But second half, I just thought Iran had more energy. Even though Wales made the changes first, they were still the team with more energy, still driving forward, creating the chances, and that's been the story of Wales really, like the last couple of games. We've just not been up to the levels that maybe we thought we would be going into this tournament, and as we said, you know, Iran thoroughly deserved of the win in the end.
Dan, talk to me about how you saw certainly I mentioned it a good few times in commentary, just that when we did get into positions, the crossing areas, the set plays, the quality was poor, Dan.
It was.
And you know, we mentioned him a lot in the build-up and during the game, but you know, I said it, not just Kiefer getting it in the box with Kiefer Moore, the chances he might get, but just the carnage and the sort of disarray that he can cause in the box. I think when we did get in those positions, it just wasn't there. The quality, we come back out and we try and pass. I've just seen the stats, you know, 500 passes, but no real threat on goal. And in such a big game, when you've got the big man, and we've talked about him, for me, just the disappointment of the quality, knowing the quality we have, you know.
Yeah, it's not rocket science, James, is it? You know, when you play Kiefer Moore, you look at the chance that he had in the first half. It was Connor Roberts getting the ball high and wide, one touch out of his feet, he whips it into the near post, and Kiefer Moore scores. And then I'm trying to rack my brains really after that and think about how many more crosses went into the box in and around him. There wasn't too many, and you know, we had plenty of possession, but we weren't completing enough of our attacking moves, whether that's crosses, whether that's shots on goal. And there were so many times where the ball was given away with a square pass, and then it was allowing Iran then to go on the counter-attack, and then they looked like scoring the other end. We just didn't ever have any proper kind of control of possession or a thought process as to what we were trying to do when we kind of get into the final third. And for me, it was quite simple, chappers, you know, put a ball in the area for Kiefer Moore to attack, whether it's your wing back or Gareth Bale or Aaron Ramsey, but it just didn't happen enough.
Just one on how Iran dealt with Kiefer Moore, actually. I thought, Pat, they did really well. They had one man on him, the other centre-half dropped in case he flicked it, but the central midfielder actually tried to cut the ball off into him, and if he tried to knock it back towards his Welsh midfield, the deepest Iranian midfielder was there to pick it up.
To be honest, that's very, very old school marking. Yeah. That's exactly what you should do with a big centre forward. You asked the question beforehand, you know, will they be ready for that? You don't actually see that quite as often in the modern game. See it now and again, but not that often. But you just look back to how you deal with it, and that's exactly how you do it. Get tight on him, one in front, a little bit of cover at the back, and then when you get the ball, you pass it through, and they did pass it through. Just have one last line on the Gareth Bale thing. Do you know, if his name wasn't Gareth Bale, you'd have taken him off today, and you wouldn't play him in the next game, because there was no impact whatsoever in Gareth Bale. I don't see him for long periods of time. He didn't actually try to go by anyone at any point today, and I know Gareth Bale from the past, and that doesn't look like the same guy.
You can take the World Cup with you wherever you go via the BBC Sounds app. Hope you enjoyed Ian and Pat on that. And then England-USA is our final game tonight. That is at 7 o'clock. Two matches, both are in Group A in between. We've got Netherlands against Ecuador first up, Qatar, Senegal. That's coming next. Danny, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Danny Gabidon, with us, part of the TV commentary team. see all the games as a TV highlight show tonight after England USA. Let's head back to Wales. Pre-match, we spoke to Mark Hutchins at Aaron Ramsey's old school, where there was lots of excitement. I would imagine it's a very different atmosphere now.
Yes, not quite so much excitement now. The pupils here at Dusthall, Govan, Cumrumney and Blackwood filing back to their classes. They were full of anticipation as they all crammed into the school hall for the game and then watched it with increasing amounts of agony, I would say. With me is Tony Wilding, former teacher of Aaron Ramsey. I know you were a bit nervous before that game kicked off. You were right to be.
Yeah, they're a very good team. I didn't think they would play as poorly as they did in the first game, and my trepidations came to fruition. I think I was when you look at chances created, I think they deserved overall to win the game. Bit gutted that we couldn't hold on after the sending off, but when they hit the post twice and had the goal chalked off for VAR in the first half, I think we only created one real opportunity. Yeah, a little bit gutted with that, but. You know,
and it was more than Iran playing well. It was Wales playing particularly badly, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think we turned the ball over too cheaply, and we didn't seem to connect between the defence and midfield and the forwards. So I don't know, it's something we can hopefully put right and have a good go against England on Tuesday.
Yeah, just a small matter of England to come. I mean, obviously you've got all these close connections with Aaron Ramsey. I mean, he didn't have a great game, and particularly Gareth Bale well off the pace, weren't they?
Yeah, they struggled, didn't they? They struggled to impose themselves on the play. And, you know, Kiefer did well in bits and pieces as well to hold the ball up, but we didn't seem to have that cohesion between the lines.
Well, Amelia Mills is one of the pupils here, plays football herself. That was a bit of a painful watch, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, it hurts. Quite gutted with the performance. I don't think we showed up today. You could see the way Iran played, they were gutsy and they wanted it more. They were first to every ball, second to every ball. They put their bodies on the line, and Wales just didn't do that today.
It was almost like an infection among the Welsh players, not just being able to keep the ball and string the passes together.
No, I don't think they played to their strengths. They didn't create chances. We couldn't get up the pitch. I think we played really deep. We looked nervous on the ball, and it shouldn't be like that.
Okay, what's your least favourite lesson?
Science.
Science. Would you rather science than watching that, possibly?
No.
Okay. Well, you, Amelia, go off to your lesson. So there we are, Mark. A pretty painful experience here, but there is another game to come. It's just a question of playing England now.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah, they're not definitely out, aren't Wales? I haven't worked the permutations out, but they're not out just yet. England, USA at 7 o'clock this evening. Let's turn our attentions back to Iran. We can hear from their manager, Carlos Queiroz.
Congratulations, coach. Today, coach, you have 20 players. You have warriors here. 3 points. It's very good, important for go to the second round.
Well, it's just the beginning now. We need to finish the job. But I think it was a wonderful day for us. We're back to football, and I don't have words to say how to say thank you to our players. They brilliant. They deserve all attention and respect. I think today people understand that these boys, they love to play football. Okay.
What's your message for the public?
Sorry?
Your message for the Iranian public?
Just again, the players, they deserve to be supported, and we did it for them. We did it for them. That's the only reason we're here, to play for the fans.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
He says they're just playing for the fans, Pat.
Very difficult position for him to say the right thing. You can actually hear the wheels whirring in his brain as he's trying to give the right answer there. And the right answer is, you hope that your countrymen and countrywomen are proud of you for what you did today, and they should be proud of them for what they did today. And it was, I must admit, I know they're a decent team, but they really impressed me with the technical ability that they showed today. Queiroz will be continual questions at Queiroz, won't there? He'll not get away with this. It'll just keep on hitting them. People will keep on tripping them up, and he'll keep on trying to say, look, it's just a football. I'm just a football coach. And he's actually trying to help his players a little bit there by saying, the kids, the lads or whatever, they're just trying to go out and do that sort of thing. So And maybe at some point they get a wee chance to do that. I think this will help them a bit.
I mean, I get that sense as well, James. You exactly what Pat says. That I mean, there are some things that he has said in his press conferences that have felt a bit odd, and he has at times been confrontational. And some people may understand that, and some people may not understand that. You do get the sense, though, he's desperately trying to protect his players from what may be coming at them from both sides here.
Yeah, for sure. I thought it was a lovely interview, to be honest, Chappers. I think the way he answered the questions, the way he thanked. I don't think I've ever heard a manager thank his players for the way they played, their attitude, and I thought he dealt with the situation well. Look, he's a football manager. He's going to enjoy this win. Obviously what it means for the country and what's going on there. But I thought he handled himself really well there, and as you say, a group of players and a manager, hopefully, as footballers and as a coach, can go away from this and enjoy a fully deserved victory.
For Iran now, just on the football, Pat, does their performance today back up what Carlos Queiroz said pre-match, that if you'd have given them 2 matches to qualify for a knockout stage of the World Cup, they'd have taken that, and that's how they've always seen it. So whatever we saw against England was not them.
You'll never see that again. I don't think you'll see that again. If they go through to the next round, you won't see that. I don't think you see that if they played against Brazil. I'm not saying they beat Brazil, but you won't see that sort of limp performance, that disjointed performance. They are a much better team than that, and they've shown it over the years. They're a much better team than that. In hindsight, that's a team that was under too much pressure. More pressure than a game of football. And games of football affect people, and certain players get very nervous before big games. It's their first game of the World Cup, all that sort of stuff. It's of nothing in comparison to what else they were going through, not only for themselves, their families back home, fearing what they should do, the right thing, the wrong thing. You can walk onto a football pitch sometimes, and we've all done it at some point, where football's actually the last thing in your mind. And it's horrendous. Football's hard enough as it is. Add all that stuff on top of it to all your players. It's horrendous to do that. I don't think you'll see that again, which is great.
The atmosphere at the first game when they played England, there tended to be at that stadium, at the Khalifa Stadium, little pockets of Iran fans rather than big groups. They were dotted around. Whereas here at the Ahmad bin Ali Stadium, I mean, there were huge. I mean, the whole of one end was Iranian, was it? It had a very different feel today to the opening game for Iran.
Yeah, and one of the brilliant things to say, the most important things to say, like, the passion for football in this part of the world is huge. It's absolutely huge. And you want to be able to see it, and you want to be able to report it, and you want to be able to tell everyone. Now, there are difficulties in a variety of countries, as we know well, but you have to report that, and it's not really got through yet, but you're beginning to see it with Saudi Arabians. You're absolutely seeing it with the Iranian team just now. And it was brilliant to see that after 2 minutes of the game, because it wasn't there before the game. Because obviously they were standing outside, or standing in the concourses. They didn't want to be present when the national anthems were played. They did come in, and that made a difference to players. There's no doubt what a help. And they turned round and they heard that noise behind them. That helps. That helps a huge amount.
It's massive. It's credit to the Iranian fans, because I think you ask any Welsh supporter, I don't think I've ever watched a Wales game, certainly in the last 4 or 5 years, where I haven't heard the Welsh fans in a stadium. So credit to the fans as well for the way they were today.
Let's head outside the stadium, because some of those fans are with Delith.
Hello, Mark. Yes, it's a sea of Iranian fans around me. It's turned into a big Iranian party. A lot of the Wales fans have started making their way towards the metro. I'm with a couple of disconsolate ones, James and Ellis. You both got your bucket hats on. James, your reaction initially to that match?
Well, I mean, obviously it's gutting, but if you had said 5 years ago that you'd be in the World Cup, I'd be buzzing anyway. So, I mean, you're going to go out at some point unless we win it, obviously. But I mean, if I had the option to be here a few years ago, I would have bit your hand off for it. So I mean, you can't be too gutted. It's obviously quite raw at the moment, but we're not out of it. And football's a strange game; anything can happen. So just see what happens now against England.
Yeah, I can imagine, Ellis. The feelings are quite raw at the moment. I know a couple of Iranians just came up to you and sort of apologised in a way for the results. Did Wales underestimate Iran, do you think?
Yeah, I think it didn't help the 6-2 to England. I think obviously England are a good team, beating Iran, anyone could lose to them. And at the end of the day, like, if I'm gutted to lose at the World Cup, then something's gone right along the way. I could never blame Paige, the boys. Like, to come to the World Cup, to have the chance to do that is crazy. And at the end of the day, like, if we only ended on 1 point, you know, hey-ho, we scored a goal. But again, as James said, like, we could beat England, and of course we could. Anything can happen in the World Cup, as you've seen.
Yeah, and James, you know, you said to me beforehand that you both had flown in from Dubai. You're heading back there later tonight. You're coming back in for the England game. The atmosphere, though, inside that Ahmed bin Ali Stadium today, it was deafening, wasn't it? Because it was half full with Iranian fans absolutely screaming.
I mean, like, we are a small country, like, so we're up against some big boys here. The population, we're so outnumbered. So, I mean, the Welsh fans are unreal. The Red Wall's so loud, but it's so hard to compete against such big countries when they've just got so much support, especially when Iran's quite close to Dubai, and us Welsh lot are paying flipping half our annual salary to get here and travelling the other side of the world. So, I mean, tried our best, but, like, you can't always do it. But, you know, like, we just enjoy the England game. We've got the moment where Bale scored that pen against America. Like, they'll never take that away. Just that moment, to have that in the World Cup is incredible. So, you know, that's how football is.
Absolutely, and keep enjoying it, fellas. Keep enjoying your time out here. And like you say, it's not over until it's over. Thank you, James. Thank you, Ellis. There's some disconsolate Wales fans amongst the many thousands happy Iranians, Mark, outside the stadium.
Delith, thank you very much. So we've still got 3 more games to come here on 5 Live. England against USA. Kick-off is 7 o'clock. Kelly will have all the build-up to that. The focus of the next few hours, though, will be Group A, and that's Netherlands against Ecuador. But first up, Qatar, Senegal. Here, though, the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium, the first game of the day. Wales 0, Iran 2. As Delith said there outside the stadium, and we've certainly felt it inside the stadium, even the Welsh fans in defeat, it's been a real positive atmosphere inside here, and we've seen a good game of football. Such is the nature of this World Cup, such is the nature of some of the countries participating, that there is always another side to it. Amnesty Iran have just tweeted following Iran's win, whilst the footballers and officials celebrate the national football team's win against Wales, let's remember the human rights crisis unfolding across the country. Hundreds of men, women and children unlawfully killed. Let's remember the victims. That is what the Iranian team are playing under here. They have won 2-0 against Wales. Their final group game is against the USA. Hopefully we've tried to bring you all sides of the atmosphere that we've seen today. To take you through the next part of the afternoon, here's Steve Crossman.
Can I tell you a quick Carlos Queiroz story before you go, Mark? I ran into him in a lift in Moscow just before the World Cup final, and he asked me, as soon as I said I worked for the BBC, he asked me about Mani Jazmi, who you and Pat were just talking about, our Iranian colleague, and he said, has Mani got a ticket for the World Cup final? So I said no, and he said, don't worry, I will get Mani Jazmi a ticket. And he spent the next hour trying to get one of our colleagues a ticket for the World Cup final. Doesn't that just say so much about the man?
It does. It does.
Right. Thank you very much, chaps. Well, heartbreak for Wales. James Collins is going to stay with us for a little while to see if we get any more reaction from the Welsh camp. Incredible story for Iran, though, their victory there. And it means, by the way, that Wales must beat England when they play on Tuesday to stand any chance of going through to the last 16 of this World Cup. We're going to talk more about England shortly. We're going to hear from Luke Shaw, and then we'll focus on Qatar against Senegal at the Al Tamama Stadium. We're bringing you full commentary of that when it kicks off at 1 o'clock. We'll do all of that after the news on 5 Live with Lisa McCormick.
Take the World Cup with you. Qatar 2022.
On BBC Sounds, this is BBC Radio 5 Live.
A woman with Down syndrome's lost an appeal over laws that allow the abortion of babies with the condition up until birth. 27-year-old Heidi Crowther argued that the legislation was unlawfully discriminatory. The Court of Appeal dismissed the case, arguing that the law doesn't interfere with the rights of the living disabled. Heidi says she'll try to take her case to the Supreme Court now.
I was absolutely devastated. I don't want to be known as a burden or a problem. I want to be known as Heidi. I will keep fighting with the discrimination because it makes me feel that I'm different, but I'm not. I'm the same.
Downing Street says the investigation into alleged bullying by the Deputy Prime Minister Dominic Raab has been expanded to include a third complaint. The accusation refers to behaviour during his time at the Department for exiting the European Union. Mr Raab's denied any allegations of bullying. The Health Secretary, Steve Barclay, says nurses' demands for a pay rise are not affordable. The Royal College of Nursing says its members will stage 12-hour walkouts on the 15th and 20th of December in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. A former soldier has been convicted of unlawfully killing a 23-year-old in Northern Ireland in 1988. A judge in Belfast ruled that David Holden, who's 53, was guilty of gross negligence manslaughter for his role in the shooting of Aidan McAnespie on a border crossing in County Tyrone. Dozens of Welsh fans have missed that World Cup match against Iran after a computer glitch left them stranded in Dubai. An error on their electronic entry permits for Qatar meant they couldn't board their flights. And Kanye West announced that he intends to run for president in the 2024 US election. The controversial rapper, who's legally changed his name to Ye, did launch a campaign in 2020, but he only managed 70,000 votes.
This is a public service announcement.
Weekdays from 2. It's time for Scott Mills on Radio 2.
Would you mind doing me a quick review?
You're doing brilliant. I'm enjoying you on Radio 2.
You're a very nice man. Thank you very much. Every time this comes on Radio 2, I turn it right up.
The head's going, the shoulders go in. I'm like bouncing around on the seat. Probably one of the world's most embarrassing mums because of your show.
Scott Mills on Radio 2.
Tell all your friends on that school run to turn Radio 2 on as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Scott Mills all the way.
Weekdays from 2.
Listen live on BBC Sounds.
BBC 5 Live.
The FIFA World Cup, Qatar 2022 with Steve Crossman.
Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome back to 5 Live Sport. What a tough afternoon that was for Wales. Beaten 2-0 by Iran. They're going to have to beat England if they're going to have any chance of going through. If we get more reaction in the next 25 minutes, then we will bring it to you. We've got Qatar versus Senegal coming up next at 1 o'clock. We're going to talk more England as well, because that result this afternoon means that England will book their place in the last 16 if they beat the USA. We've got full commentary tonight at 7 o'clock. Former England international Stephen Warnock is one half of our commentary team for Qatar Senegal. Afternoon, Stephen.
Afternoon, Steve.
So Gareth Southgate doesn't name unchanged teams. He hasn't done that for years, not since the World Cup semi with Croatia. Should he do that today?
No, I think if everyone's fit and you can book your place through, then I'd continue with the same team. And you look at the game against Iran and how well they played. Why would you want to change it? There's continuity there. That's what you want to try and keep, and you want to try and keep that understanding of playing with each other, relationships all over the pitch. And I thought the balance of the team was extremely good as well. So no, continue as it is.
Right. We've got Rory Smith with us as well from the New York Times in our studio in Doha. How's that studio looking a week in, Rory? Crisp packets everywhere or what?
It's very glamorous. It really is. It's a very glamorous existence the BBC are leading out here in Doha. I mean, it seems almost wasteful, to be honest. No, it's a hive of activity, Steve. Everyone's working very hard.
Right. Would it surprise you if Gareth Southgate picked the same team?
Slightly, because I think it's crucial if England want to stay in the tournament for quite a long time that he makes sure that everybody's fresh. And he does have, in certain positions, lots of options. So I wouldn't expect like a fundamental change in the team. I think it will look broadly similar. But I wouldn't be surprised if maybe one or two came in and one or two dropped out. So, particularly in the wide attacking roles, when you've got, Grealish and Foden didn't start against Iran, you wonder whether maybe one, maybe both of them will start. But that's purely and simply with kind of the forthcoming rounds in mind.
Got to say, Stephen, England's result against Iran looks even better, judging on what we've just seen.
Yeah, it does. However, listening to Carlos Queiroz talk about the game with England and what it was meaning to, basically said they knew that wasn't the main game. They were concentrated on the games that they were concentrated on was the Wales game, and then it was the United States game as well. So that was what they were looking to get the points from. So just going back to Rory's point there, I know Rory's saying that he'd think there might be a couple of changes. I just think Gareth will look at that and just say, "Well, get through, and then we'll make the changes," because then you've got an even longer break between the knockout stages and the game tonight. So I think that's where Gareth might just look at it and say, I can give the players an extended break after that game.
If he doesn't in the same team, that'll mean that Luke Shaw will be starting at left back again. He's been speaking to Kelly Sommers about what the team have been up to this week and what they're expecting from the USA.
High intensity side,
pressing really well, pressing really high, very aggressive, and, you know, got some really good players. So there isn't any more motivation that we can have, really. I think the motivation has to be there in every game, no matter what the circumstances are. We obviously want to win every game, but of course we know the importance of this. When we win, then we're through the next round, so of course we need to focus on that. But I think we need to just, you know, focus on ourselves, focus on what we need to do in the game, and, you know, I'm sure if we do that, the result will come with it.
Have you been able to relax, have any downtime since? What have you been up to since we saw you on the pitch?
Yeah, we're quite lucky, to be honest. We've got a really good hotel. The staff have done a really good job to, you know, try and give us as much downtime as possible, and, you know, they've made the hotel really good with lots of things to do, and with the World Cup starting, there's a lot of games on. You know, we've got a big telly like by the pool, and the lads are really into this game of called Wolf at the moment. So, like, there's one person that controls the whole game, and then, like, everyone closes their eyes and they all get given a card. So then when they have their card, they can open their eyes and, like, have a little peek at what their card is. So then obviously there's a couple wolves, there's villagers, there's a witch, there's lots of different things, so it's very confusing. But then, so you all close your eyes and it's like night time. The one who's controlling the game will say, "Wolves, can you open your eyes?"
So let me get this right, you're all sitting there with your eyes closed?
So everyone's got their eyes closed, so the wolves open their eyes, and then there's only a certain amount of people that are wolves, so there's like 3.
Okay.
And then they pick someone to kill. But bearing in mind, everyone's like eyes are still shut, so like who are the villagers? So then they pick someone to kill, and then they go to sleep. And then everyone, the whole village, it's kind of like a village.
Okay.
So the village will wake up in the morning, and then the person controlling the game will be like, I know it's confusing, but will be like, this person was killed in the night time, blah, 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 then that person is out. And then the rest of the village have to try and find out who the wolves are, if you get me. So then you can, like, sort of talk to people and see, like, how they're moving or feeling, if you think, like, maybe they could be the wolf, or if you felt someone, like, move next to you during the night, do you know what I mean? So it's confusing, but it gets everyone going, and, like, all the lads are...
How long does it go on for?
A game could last, like, 45 minutes. Imagine the whole squad's in, so, like, there's 20 players playing at least, so you'll have to look it up, but
I've just got
my
visualisations
explanation's
now
not the
of
best.
Jack Grealish sitting there with his eyes closed and other people saying they're wolves.
No, yeah, it is confusing to explain. I'm not very good at explaining, but it's a brilliant game and everyone loves it, so you have to look it up and maybe get it, and you can have a practice with it.
Rory Smith, on the Monday Night Club, are you the wolf, the villager or the witch?
I don't want to criticise Luke Shaw, but I'm not sure that was the most sort of concise description of that game. I have no idea what that game's about.
James Collins is sitting next to me. I don't think you're keen to play that one.
No, it sounds the most horrendous game I think I might have ever heard. It doesn't sound very lively in the England camp by all seems.
In all seriousness, though, Stephen, normally ahead of a big tournament, I remember in 2018, you know, Mark Chapman was there before the tournament, big media day, and he asked Harry Kane, what are you going to be doing? And he said, everyone will be playing Fortnite. You know, from a team building perspective, I'd rather them do something like this.
I've played that game. It's
have you?
Good. Yeah, I have. It's a very good game.
Really, Warnie?
Yeah, it is, honestly. It's really good.
I can imagine it being good fun if there was a couple of beers involved, but sat in a hotel doesn't sound too fun.
You can have a couple of beers, mate. We'll play it later.
Okay.
No, honestly, I know what you mean. I think to get people interacting, if you sat on a computer screen and you're just playing your computer on your own and you're just in your own little world, then it's not really helping the balance of the squad. Whereas it's really funny because you see people's sort of personalities come out and how they try and kid on people and fool people, and it's a really good game.
It's posh wink murder, let's be honest.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, let's get back to the football, shall we? You spend a lot of time out in America coaching, Stephen. Have you noticed a big difference in the last few years in terms of the appetite there? Because they've now got the team to match it.
Yeah, they have. I think when you look at the team that started against Wales the other night, I mean, a lot of the players are playing either Premier League or top-end European football, so it shows you the quality that the MLS is producing, the academies out in America. I think even when I go over now and I'm looking for a game to watch, you can pretty much find it in any bar that you go into, in hotels or restaurants, whatever it might be. And probably, I'd say 10 years ago, you couldn't do that. It was all just college football, American football, baseball, basketball. Now they're even showing college soccer, both male and female, and that just shows you the progress they're having. You can ask for it anywhere, but even the standard of players now in America at youth level, both female and male, is vastly improving. The tactical side was always the issue that they struggled with, but the influx of probably European coaches going out to America, helping the coaches, but also what the American coaches are brilliant at doing, and they are desperate to do, is learn, and they're willing to travel to learn as well. And they come over to Europe and they do their qualifications over here and try and learn as much as they can as well. And they are very, very intelligent. But there's this horrible stigma around them, and it's one that's aimed at Jesse Marsh a lot. Is just the Ted Lasso and the cliches and what have you. And yeah, I don't like it, if I'm being completely honest, because these guys deserve respect. They deserve to get to the top, and once they get to the top, they've got there for a reason. There's a lot of people who don't get to manage either a top Premier League team or a top team in Europe, which Jesse Marsh has done both, and I think it's a bit unfair.
They've certainly got, Rory, the players to hurt England now.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting with the States is that the type of player that we associate with them has changed a little bit over the last 20 years. If you think back to mine and your formative years, Steve, it was, John Hart's, Roy Wedderly, are these names that are bringing back memories?
Kobe Jones?
Kobe Jones. But, Hart's actually was a really good player, but we kind of thought of American players as being industrious, largely goalkeepers, not particularly technically gifted maybe, which isn't fair on either Wedderly or Hart's actually, but
fair of Alexi Lalas though.
They weren't like creative players. They were kind of good, honest pros, articulate, intelligent, hard working. That kind of changed a bit with like Clint Dempsey, who had that one or two really great seasons in the Premier League. We saw them, but again, he scored a lot of goals, but he was hard running, he was industrious. Whereas now I think they're starting to produce players who are a little bit more technically gifted, who play that kind of pressing style that is popular across basically all the big clubs. And you think of Pulisic, you think of Brendan Aronson, who I think's done really well at Leeds. We've written about him today. Tyler Adams, who's emerged really as a leader for both club and country. But the big one, I think, is Gio Reyna, and that's the question that there is in the US at the moment: is does Greg Berhalter, the coach, play probably his most talented player? Reyna's had a lot of injury problems at Dortmund. He's not played a lot of football over the last year, I guess. He feels he's ready. Berhalter said after the Wales game that he chose not to play him as a coach's decision, which we would call, to translate for the audience, that means a tactical choice rather than injury. But in America, it's called a coach's decision. And I think Reyna's the one who's got something a little bit different about him. The other player to watch out for is Yunus Musa at Valencia, who was born in the States but spent a lot of his childhood across in Europe. Musa's very young, but he's a really good player. They actually have a really nice balance to their team, and that maybe showcases that they are starting to produce a broader variety of players.
Rory, thank you very much. Be more villager, be less wolf for the next few weeks, yeah?
I don't know what that means.
It's something to do with that game. I don't know. Cheers, Rory. Rory
Cheers,
Smith from the New York Times with us on 5 Live Sport. Let's get some more reaction to Wales' 2-0 loss to Iran. Gareth Bale has been speaking to Carl Roberts.
Obviously, down to 10 men, we're trying to still score or keep it 0-0, but it's difficult. The last 10 minutes, everyone's tired. They're flooding forward. It's difficult, but it's hard to take. But all we can do is recover, look back on where we went wrong, try to improve, and we go again.
The manager made changes to try and win the game, but then when the red card comes, that kind of undermines those changes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's difficult when anyone goes out to 10 men, especially in a World Cup against good teams. It's difficult, but it happened. We obviously don't blame anybody. It happens in football, but like I said, it's just difficult to take now because it's so raw.
It felt like your second half, they came onto you a lot more, Gareth. The intensity of their game raised. When you opened up, did you feel like you could have got a winner?
Yeah, I think we always believed that 0-0 we could have one chance to win the game, and we always believed that. So that's kind of what we were trying to do. We were trying to still stay on the front foot. I think you saw with the changes, bringing Brennan and DJ on to keep attacking and get the ball in the box. We wanted to try and win the game, but obviously going down to 10 men, it's difficult, and we got punished in the end.
And it does mean that you'll have to go and beat England in the last game to stand any chance of going through.
Yeah, which is now what we have to try and do. We have to recover and go again. Simple as that.
It was interesting, James. That's the second time we've heard from Gareth Bale since the final whistle. The first time you could hear there was a lot of shock there, and he was able to really get his words together in that second interview. But as he was asked at the end, got to go beat England to have any chance.
Yeah, we have, and that's what it's come down to. Just so happens it's against England, massive derby for Wales, but certainly they need to. We need to up our performance. I don't think it's been good enough in both games. I know Gaz talks about the sending off there of Wayne Hennessey, but I think before that there was chances. We were second best. So I get the sending off. You know, we've lost the game, but I think before that the whole performance wasn't really there and deserved to lose the game. But like you say, we've got a chance. What is a chance? You know, you've got to have a go. We'll play England. It'll be a huge game for everyone in Wales, for obviously who we're playing. So there's a chance. You know, it's going to be tough, but we certainly need to be better in the next game.
I've seen you go through all of the emotions sitting next to you this afternoon. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Steve. Cheers.
Top man, former Wales international James Collins, who's been with us. Right, let's turn our attention to the game that kicks off in 10 minutes' time. Full commentary of Qatar versus Senegal. Qatar have already become the first host nation to lose their opening game. They could this afternoon become the fastest eliminated hosts in World Cup history. Conor McNamara has the team news.
Yes, well, we'll all remember watching that opening game when the Qatar goalkeeper Saad Al-Sheeb certainly caught the eye. He was erratic at the kindest, and it's probably no big surprise to see the Qatar have dropped their goalkeeper. It means that Misham Barsham, who's the younger brother of the reigning world and Olympic high jump champion Mutaz Essa Barsam, he starts in goal for Qatar. They make 3 changes from the 2-0 defeat to Ecuador in that opening game. Ismail Mohammed, Asim Medibo also come in. Al-Rawi and Hatim are the 2 who drop out. And for Senegal, well, they make changes too. 2 changes from their opening defeat when they also lost by 2-0, but against the Netherlands on Monday. Deju comes in, and so too Ishmael Jacobs, who's a Monaco left-back. Jacobs will come in place of Cisse, who played centre-half in the opening game. We think that Diallo will move into the centre, and that will allow Jacobs to operate on the left-hand side. But for Senegal, there is that massive, gaping vacuum where Sadio Mane was and potentially should have been in this tournament, and they are still waiting to score. And up until Ghana got 2 against Portugal last night, no African team had even scored in this tournament. Senegal hoping that they could get the first African win of World Cup 2022 today.
And Stephen, if we've learned anything from what we've just seen, don't judge anybody on one performance.
No, and I think that's the vital thing. There was huge pressure on Qatar to perform in that first game. You could sense that when they walked out onto the pitch, that anticipation. When we spoke before the game, I was on with Kelly myself, and we were talking about it, and we were saying that Qatar hadn't played. Well, the players have been released from the clubs and they've been working with the national team for a sort of a 6-month period. There hadn't been much competitive football, so you could see that within the players. Hopefully today they give a good account of themselves and we get a good game.
All yours, Connor.
Thanks very much, Steve, as the teams walk out the tunnel at the Al Tumama Stadium.